Got Malik Williams for a loss, and then second and long, not where this SMU offense wants to be, as it's a talented front seven for the Carabins.
So a 2 and out. Near danger there for the Carabins. Louis Drolet had the punt go off his shin, but the Carabins will take over at about the 52-yard line, and this is where we get our first look at Pepe Gonzalez, the top freshman in the Quebec Conference, probably the top rookie in Canadian university football. Just a year ago, he was playing in the CEGEP Championships, lost in the semifinal, took over this job week 2 for the Quebec champions, and has not looked back since. This is what they like to do. They like the screen game. They like to get their playmakers in space. That's Enrique Jem Leclerc into Huskies territory. It's a pickup of 16 on the first snap from scrimmage for the Carabins.
Yeah, and number 1 on this Montreal Carabins offense, it goes through him. You go back to the Quebec championship game, when they needed a big play, it was number 1, and they're going to start off today with going to their go-to guy.
Conference All-Star, Jem Leclerc. From their own 42, back, quick game, back to Jem Leclerc. And that'll get to about the 33, close to a first down. And here comes this Montreal offense that is without their star tailback. Luca Dembele Berthe is out with a lower leg injury, and so Remy Lambert takes over the starting running back duties for the Carabins today.
Yeah, and what we've seen already, Arash, 2 plays in for Montreal, is their tendency to kind of have an extension of the run game with these quick hitters and short screen passes and hitches. So there's lots of ways to get some positive yards on first down. Doesn't always have to be the straight handoff.
Short yardage, this is what the Carabins do. They bring out their fullback, Matthew Barcelou. He's going to keep it. He's going to get the first down, wrestled down by Marcus Jean Lozier. Barcelou, that is his 15th carry of the year, only on short yardage.
And it's been successful throughout the course of the season. That's why not keep going back to it? So yeah, Carabins, easy first down conversion here. The offensive line for Montreal is fantastic.
Yeah.
This might be their best O-line in several seasons, maybe the best under Coach Marco Idaluca. So that helps everything look a little bit better.
Yeah, that offensive line allowed only 6 sacks the entire year. There's Lambert, not much room. Met first by Mikhail Biggs, the man in the middle of that St. Mary's defensive line.
Yeah, Remy Lambert, not too many carries throughout the course of the season for the Carabins. We saw the starting running back, Lucas Dembele, you mentioned, limp off the field in the Quebec final a week ago, number 4. So the Carabins would love to have him in the backfield. Remy, we're told as well, like Dembele, can do a little bit of everything. Catch the ball, run the ball, so we'll see what 23 has for us today.
From the St. Mary's 27. Gonzalez to his left. Gonzalez complete for the 3rd time today to Enrique Jem Leclerc. Good for the first down to the National Rookie of the Year last season. So how about Enrique Jem Leclerc? He's from Varennes, Quebec. Went to a prep school in Tennessee for his high school days. Then arrives in Montreal. Gets to play with Jonathan Seneca last year and now with Pepe Gonzalez. And they have developed such a rapport on throws like those. High percentage over the middle, and let Jem Leclerc go to work.
The receiving core for Montreal, it's a talented group. So that's one way to help a rookie quarterback as well. He's got some great options.
Gonzalez with time, and it's broken up in the end zone. Lucas Latulip, the sophomore from Halifax, forcing 2nd and 10.
A big play here from the SMU secondary as we take a second look. Yeah, Henrique Jem Leclerc, he's a fantastic route runner, wrapping his way around the post, and then you see the closing speed at the end. Difficult to time that well without coming through the back of the defender and getting that pass interference play. So a great play there, first of the day by the SMU secondary.
The Carabins had 25 red zone trips in the regular season. They had touchdowns on 20 of them. Here's Gonzalez, flushed to his left and flushed out of bounds by Isaiah Okoli. So the St. Mary's defense with a red zone stand on the opening series of the game, and it's the fifth-year man out of Surrey, BC, who gets it done for the Huskies.
Yeah, and an important stop, too, for SMU on this opening possession for Montreal. You see Pepe Gonzalez there rolling out to his left. Not a huge scrambler. He can run. He does have some athleticism, but doesn't want to run the ball, keeping his eyes downfield, trying to find somebody, but that SMU secondary doing their job and coming up with a big stop early.
So it'll set up a 21-yard field goal attempt for Philippe Boyer. And he misses it wide left. So it looked like the holder, Louis Drolet, was trying to spin that ball laces out. Boyer just misses it. And what a win for the St. Mary's defense, holding the Carabins to only 1 point on the opening series here in Halifax. The champions of Quebec on the left, the champions of Atlantic Canada on the right, the Carabins and the Huskies.
Yeah, and on the SMU side, Arash, just defense, defense, defense.
Yep.
Getting it done against these Huskies throughout the course of the 2025 season was a tall task for the opponents out in Atlantic Canada. Montreal, meanwhile, their journey throughout the season has a lot to do with their rookie quarterback and sticking with him too, and here they are, well-deserved.
The Carabins pride themselves on playing defense. They like coming after the quarterback. And here we go, second possession of the game, off the play fake. It's complete to Joshua Jack. Jack is a speedster, back from a hamstring injury that bothered him late in the season. The senior from Brampton, Ontario. He collects 6, brings up 2nd and 4. Jack had a big gain of 82 yards in the Loney Bowl last week in the win over St. FX.
And for me, Arash, the ticket to success today for SMU is getting some of their playmakers, Joshua Jack being the main one, the ball in space and trying to make some plays that way.
2nd and short, back to Williams, and Malik goes nowhere. It's that big Montreal defensive front. Sammy Joe Suda was there to make the stop. And this is going to be a real challenge for St. Mary's today. How do you run the football against a defensive front of Montreal that is so big, so physical, and really so athletic at the same time?
Yeah, this is the best defense that SMU has seen this season, obviously. This is one of the best defenses in Canada, any conference.
Sure.
That's why the tendency when you make it this far into a season, you go out of conference, you're facing a new opponent, you go, let's do us. Let's do what we do. Let's do what got us here. The problem facing SMU today is that physical run-first game on offense, that feeds right into a strength of Montreal when you talk about the physicality they bring on that side of the ball.
And that is St. Mary's' DNA. They're a run-first team, as Drolet again has a hard time bringing that in. He's got a little bit of space, and he's ripped down at the 35-yard line. A nice open field tackle made by Brody Boudreau. Carabins' second offensive series coming up when we return to Halifax. Pepe Gonzalez, Montreal Carabins, the nation's 6th leading passer as a freshman.
Yeah, and number 2 in Canada in touchdown passes during the regular season with 19, next only to Laurier quarterback Cal Withers. So a fantastic freshman season for the young man behind center for the Carabins. And of course, you know, what stands out to me, Arash, is the way he bounced back a rough game earlier in the season against Laval. And here he is just getting better week after week.
First down run for Remy Lambert, the backup running back who is into the mix going through the left side. And you think about Pepe Gonzalez in that run going into that first Laval game. They had more than 21,000 people in St. Foy for it, a record for Canadian University football. And when we spoke with Marco Idaluca this week, Montreal's head coach said Pepe thought he knew what he was getting himself into. And then he got to the stadium and, you know, there's the 4 interceptions that went on. But he said the next time you go back to Quebec City, the same stadium, as the pass is nearly picked off by Mikhail Biggs. The second time around, Gonzalez knew what he was getting himself into at Laval. The end result changes significantly.
Yeah, through 4 picks. That was the game in mid-October, and just bounced back with a great game in the Quebec final. There's Mikhail Biggs. How about a Mikhail Biggs INT? Did we have that one on our card for this afternoon, Arash? Great job coming off the edge here, getting the hands up when you know you can't get home, get the hands up, and close to a huge play for St. Mary's, who have forced and caused turnovers all season.
That was big Wesley Johnson-McDuff who deflected the pass. Now on 2nd and long, it is brought in by Enrique Jem-Leclerc. There is a penalty marker. Jem-Leclerc with his 4th grab today. It looked like it started with one hand before he brought it in. But let's see what the infraction is on the field.
What a catch.
What
I think I can read lips there for Pepe. That was getting some help from his go-to guy.
Hors-jeu, offside, St. Mary's. Penalty will be declined. Premier say.
Our referee today, Greg McLean of Halifax.
So the more you watch number 1 on Montreal, Enrique Jem-Leclerc, the more you're going to like this guy. This is a type of receiver. He's not just good at one thing. Here, we're seeing his fantastic hands. Let's start with that as a receiver. The guy can catch the ball. But his route running, strong. His toughness jumps out to me. That's why when they want to run these bubble screens and hitches and stuff, it's going to number 1 because of his ability to pick up yards after the catch. Just a complete player.
Back to Lambert. Back left into Huskies territory. And this is something that Montreal talked about coming into this game. They said, look, we are going to run what we run on offense, but they want to set up the deep ball. You know, at the beginning of the game, they're going to go with their core offense, what they're comfortable with, really what Pepe Gonzalez is comfortable with. They want some balance, but Andy, you just get the sense that they really want to take the top off the defense soon. Sure,
and if you are going to run the ball when you're Montreal, going to the left side behind one of the best offensive linemen in Canada, which they go again here, that's 3 runs in a row now to the left side. That makes a lot of sense. Regardless of who we have back there carrying the ball for the Carabins, the left guard for Montreal, number 76, Alassane Diouf, lineman of the year of Quebec. If you keep there, he is right there. He is a fantastic player, and you look at him just moving. Those aren't small bodies on the interior for St. Mary's. The Huskies got some big bodies in the A-gaps and on the inside, but Diouf,
he just removed the Huskies' defensive line.
He took care of that. He did okay against Laval, too.
15-yard pickup there on the first touch from Gregory Mulunda St. Pierre. This time, Simon LaRose out to the far side of the field, pushed out of bounds by Kalon Edwards. Carabins collect 5 there. Edwards is a senior from Toronto, a conference all-star. LaRose, a junior from Montreal, who had a touchdown last week against Laval. And this is somebody who, while it may not be Pepe Gonzalez's security blanket, on some deep balls, they like to go to 88, that Montreal offense.
The Carabins are up there, Rash, for the most talented receiving core in the country as a group. So we talk so much about number 1 Leclerc, but there's lots of options for Pepe.
There's another one. It's Hassan Dussault. 6 different Carabins to touch it today. He gets to the 30. He's going to be just shy of a first down. Dussault is a senior who is from Paris, France, twice an All-Canadian, missed last year with a broken leg, has come back for his final year of eligibility, and it'll be 3rd and short for the Carabins.
Yeah, twice Dussault in his great career at Montreal has made a U Sports second-team All-Canadian, has earned that. If they can get 81 going as well, and now, of course, Rash, here we got your boy Barcelou back in the game, 44, short yardage time.
I love a fullback on 3rd down. Who needs a tush push when you have a fullback?
Yeah, there it is.
And Barcelona needed 1, he gained 7, and it's a first down for the Carabins. Mathieu's feeling it.
And it's hard for me to explain to the viewers, Arash, just how physical of a football game this Montreal team was in last week against the Laval Rouge et Or in the championship game.
It's a black and blue game.
Yeah, a skirmish before the game when the flag's planted, a skirmish after the game, and how about 4 quarters of it? Because it was physical from start to finish, and the Carabins are up for that brand of football.
Second red zone trip of the day for the Carabins. They start on the ground. And it's Remy Lambert again into the middle of that Huskies defense. Matthew Schill there on the stop, the 5th-year man out of Indian Head, Saskatchewan. He played junior football out there in the CJFL before arriving in Halifax. Will bring up 2nd and 6 from the Huskies 10. Gonzalez from the gun. Gonzalez far side, complete, 1st down, Carabins. That's Brandon Gourgon, the 5th-year man out of Gatineau, who came down a little awkwardly, and he's a little shaken up. Good for a 1st down and an A-la-la.
Yeah, I think he's going to be okay. What I don't like here, Arash, is just how far off we see Keyshawn Beswick here on St. Mary's, threatening deep. Now, here's the beauty of Canada. We got 20-yard end zone.
Right.
So even though it's 2nd and short and we're deep, as a DB,
For a
you're
couple
going,
more years anyway.
no, it might be sad.
Okay.
So Beswick, yeah, caught a little bit too soft there in coverage, which makes it a comfortable throw for Pepe and for Gourgon. So I just think, yeah, maybe a little tighter there in coverage, and that's going to be enough to move the sticks. And might we have another fullback under center here, Rasmussen?
It looks like Big 44, Mathieu Barcelou, is waiting in the wings. You mentioned Keyshawn Beswick last week, and that's a good sign there as Gourgon walks off on his own strength. Last week, Beswick, the Loney Bowl MVP, had an interception, was in the middle of everything. He's a 2nd-generation Husky. His father, Mark, a big part of that 07 team that went to the Vanier Cup, the last time an AUS team played for a national championship.
Got Pepe out wide here.
1st and goal, Carabins. Barcelou keeps. Barcelou has the opening touchdown of the game. So it's a Carabins offense that needed their fullback to get it done for them in short yardage, and he does.
Yeah, and they kept Pepe on the field that time, which is maybe just enough to have your, substitutions when you're an SMU defense. Just keep that in check a little bit because the quarterback's staying on the field. But, yeah, I mean, right guard right now, not a starter this year, has been with the program for several years now, is number 69, Adam Lachance. There he is. Look at 69. Now, what's it say on our roster for big Adam Lachance? Because 400, this isn't a typo, Arash. Number 69, Montreal Carabins, Adam Lachance.
I'm listening.
423 pounds. Now, before you assume that that's a typo, take a look at 69 coming off the field and say, where do you want to do a QB sneak?
Carabins strike first, all the pounds. Well, the top 2 teams in Canadian University football descend on Mosaic Stadium in Regina for the 60th Vanier Cup next Saturday. We'll have it for you at 2 Eastern Time. You can get your tickets for the Party on the Prairies by visiting usportstickets.ca. The 2025 Vanier Cup. The winner of this game will punch its ticket into the national championship game. And what a start for Montreal. Their 2nd series of the game went 11 plays, 75 yards for a touchdown, eating up a little more than 5 minutes of clock in the process.
And Rash, looks like we've got the sun coming out here in Halifax, so tell that to our friends out in West getting ready for the Mitchell Bowl.
That's right.
We always got to do a little maritime Canada-West comparison for our weather.
Well, it was rainy and windy for the Loney last week here at Huskies Stadium, but picture-perfect fall football weather here. This is Chandler Zink. Marier goes to the right, gets to about the 23-yard line on the kick from Philippe Boyer. So Justin Shibley in the St. Mary's offense, we kind of talked about it. Shibley had committed to Carleton, never really got a chance as quarterback there with the Ravens, left the program after 3 years, and had gone to the Ottawa Sooners. the Canadian junior team out there in Ottawa when all of a sudden Steve Sumera's stepson shows up at practice one day and says to Shibley, there you see him, 17, hey man, what are you doing here? And that led to a conversation with Sumera, and Sumera and Shibley met for breakfast. And the next thing you know, Justin Shibley's on St. Mary's' campus, as this pass is incomplete, intended for Zinc Marier. There's never a linear path to a starting quarterback job, and Justin Shibley discovered that on his road to St. Mary's.
Yeah, definitely not the most straightforward of paths to getting to St. Mary's University campus for sure, but you talk to people around this program, Arash, and they're so impressed by what Justin Shibley has brought to this offense, not only in terms of his arm strength and capability, but more just kind of as a leader, something they needed and was helpful during this part of their program rebuild.
They talked about the poise that Shibley brings. He's hit as he throws, nearly caught, nearly picked off, and it'll be a 2 and out. Good coverage there from Nelson Kameni. So the St. Mary's offense, 3 series, 4 total offensive yards, and this may have been their best look at it, but Kameni was right there in coverage.
Yeah, and you see a pair of SMU receivers pretty close. You see Cherokee Robinson just on the right side of your screen there as well, pretty close to Keith there, so bleeding into each other's routes a little bit, but almost a big play. I do appreciate that Steve Samara recognizing you can't just be beating your head into the ground here against a strong Montreal front, trying to establish that pass, just unable to just get in rhythm early in this ballgame.
And Cameron Brown's punt goes off the side of his foot out of bounds, sets up wonderful field position for the Carabins. Montreal will start at its own 34-yard line.
Yeah, and Cameron Brown, he just missed that one, just off the side of his foot. He's the SMU punter. He's a good athlete. He's been a great player all season for this SMU team. Just one he wants to have back there early. Now the Carabins have this short field to work with already in field goal range.
After an 11-yard punt, here's Pepe Gonzalez on the roll, and he's got his target. There's Weddens Alexandre, the 5th-year man in traffic. It was terrific coverage by Isaiah Atkins, but regardless, a first down catch for the veteran from Montreal.
And an A-plus throw from the freshman quarterback for the Carabins on the full roll to his right, puts that ball the only place it could be.
Picture perfect coverage.
Yeah, great coverage downfield. And we wanted to keep our eye on Isaiah Atkins, number 12 on SMU as well, filling in as their starting corner is out today, Logan Mendez, and Atkins did everything right. It's just got beat by a better throw.
Beat by a vet. Here it is, underneath. Toss to the left. And Isaiah Okoli drags down Gregory Malunda St. Pierre. And he looks to be down. So that doesn't look fun right there for Okoli. That's the heart and soul of the St. Mary's defense. He sniffed out that little underneath throw to Malunda St. Pierre the whole way. And some concern there when your all-star linebacker is down.
Yeah, I'll take a look at this. Another just very quick swing pass to the running back, almost like a sweep right. We've got pulling guards out there. Oh, he's reaching for his, I can't tell if that's a groin or
a hip.
Yeah, it wasn't a body landing on top of him or anything like that at first glance.
He's in real pain.
Yeah, so now he's holding his side. So if we're talking, something muscular within there, then that becomes.
That is the St. Mary's leading tackler this season, had 47 stops. We told you about him in the open. Finished his career number 2 all-time in school history in tackles with 162. You hope Isaiah Okoli, the team captain, is going to be okay.
Yeah, undersized a little bit at that linebacker position, but just such a tremendous athlete. 47 tackles this year. And you just hope we get to see number 33 back on the field, because that's a player, Rash, that we had circled pregame as one of the keys to the day for the Huskies.
We'll keep you posted on Okoli as the afternoon goes on. 2nd and 9 for the Carabins. It's a 5-receiver set. And we had a Husky player jump. It looked like Jamari Brown leapt offside. So they'll bring up 2nd and 4.
Hors-jeu, St. Mary's. Offside, St. Mary's. St. Verge, deuxième essai. 5 yards, 2nd down, repeated.
2nd and long becomes 2nd and medium.
And now this brings a run back into play. We're on a passing down, 2nd and 9. Now we're 2nd and medium. And of course we know even just a couple on this down might be bringing 44 back into the mix.
No silent count needed today for Pepe Gonzalez. Here come the Huskies on the blitz. And the pass is overthrown, looking for Remy Lambert in the flat. And the blitz paid off. Gavin Lake bringing the house. And so you would presume, as Gonzalez steps off, we'll see Philippe Boyer for the 2nd time today. But maybe not so fast. Gonzalez comes back onto the field. And so on 3rd and 4, Marco Idaluca says, let's do it. He wanted his Carabin to be aggressive on offense. There's Scotty Annan, the defensive line coach for the Huskies out of Truro, Nova Scotia. 3rd and 4, Montreal. Gonzalez from the gun, and it's incomplete. So the St. Mary's defense has kind of answered the call, although there is a flag on the play around the line of scrimmage. Let's see what Greg McLean and his crew are going to call here.
All bigs up there. He's getting down there too far. Hey, over the zone.
Looks like we might have a roughing the passer here against the Huskies, who make it back-to-back plays now, Arash, in which they have brought pressure. And that might be a way to deal with a rookie quarterback who's come in with a hot hand. Give him something to think about. Send more than 4. Get some extra bodies in there. Oh, yeah, it's late, and it was that Zach Shirato. I couldn't tell who came off the edge there for the Huskies at that first look. It was definitely late, and that's going to be an easy call for the officiating crew.
Rudess contre le lanceur. Unnecessary roughness, roughing the passer, St. Mary's. 15-yard penalty, automatic 1st down.
And Steve Sumera's not happy with the call.
Yeah, on that
You
last...
think you get off the field on 2nd and long, and you don't.
And on that last look, Rash, too, a bit late and a bit high. So, again, that's going to be a flag every time.
1st and goal. Carabin met at the line by Mikhail Biggs again. Big 72 is everywhere, and that's how the first quarter of play will end, with the loss of a yard. Montreal leads 8-0 after 1. The Uteck Bowl. The nightcap of our doubleheader coming up next, the 2025 Mitchell Bowl. Queens with the upset over Laurier. Saskatchewan home after knocking off Regina. It's the Mitchell Bowl right here on CBC Gem. Mark Lee and Deshaun Stevens will have the call for you. U Sports on CBC, where champions are made. 2nd down and goal to go for the Montreal Carabins. Opening play of the 2nd quarter. Montreal leads 8-0. Second goal from the 3. Pepe Gonzalez
Blitting
out.
out wide.
Matthew Barcelo is in.
Blitting out wide again.
Barcelo calling signals. Barcelo going right, and Barcelo is into the end zone for his 2nd rushing touchdown of the day. So once Montreal gets in close, that's their short yardage man. But really, that was all set up on a roughing the passer call. On a roughing the passer call that extended the red zone drive and gave the Carabin another shot at it.
Yep, that's a game-changing penalty. Penalty's an area that SMU has improved so much on in recent years. And there's my big boy at number 69, Adam Lachance, all 423 pounds of him coming in at right guard on these goal line packages. Makes sense to head that way if I was calling plays for the Carabins as well. Calling plays for the Carabins, by the way, Gabriel Cousineau, former quarterback at the University of Montreal, who led the Carabins to their first Vanier Cup title back in 2014. And he's calling plays for these guys.
So it was a short field after the flubbed punt, a 6-play, 31-yard drive aided by a roughing the passer penalty. And the Carabins lead 15-0 thanks to the man in the sombrero, Matthew Barcelo, who on short yardage, Andy, continues to get it done.
Yep, 6'1", 230 pounds coming at you. We have also seen in short yardage Montreal's ability to mix it up from some of these looks and hand it off to a receiver on a jet motion or that little reverse action as well. So a couple different options within that short yardage package for the Carabins.
But they've kept it safe and they've kept it smart. Their right guard is a Team Canada World Junior player, Benjamin Damour. On the left side, you have, you know, maybe the best offensive lineman in all of Quebec, and Alassane Diouf, and that's all they're doing. They're just running up the gut.
And you know, listening to SMU head coach Steve Samara pregame, he talked about surviving the first quarter,
which they did,
hanging in there, and they were doing okay, and that's why that penalty seems so costly.
Yeah.
Holding Montreal to 3 in that situation would have been important, but now it's time for the Huskies to get something going on their end.
They go with Zinc Merrier, who shoves off one tackle, crosses the 35, and past the 31 to about the 32. Nice return for Chandler Zinc Merrier, the redshirt junior from Bridgewater, Quebec. And you see that 10 straight wins for the RSEQ when they face teams from Atlantic Canada. It was in 2007 at this stadium, the last time an AUS team won a bowl game. That's when these Huskies upset Laval, led by Eric Lavich, who won the Heck Crichton that year for St. Mary's.
And if there's going to be an upset today, Arash, we just saw a nice return by Chandler Zinc Merrier. I think there's going to have to be, you know, big play on special teams, big play on the defense, because lining up and running base against this talented of a front for the Carabins is going to be a challenge all day.
Our first look at Liam Legg, the backup running back for St. Mary's, although they split the carries, Malik Williams and Liam Legg do. Stop on the play there made by Christophe Martin. Legg is only 5'9". You see him wearing number 27. Pretty good athlete. Played point guard in high school too, up there in Truro, Nova Scotia.
Yeah, it's been a really nice running back combination for the SMU Huskies in 2025. Liam Legg, great change of pace coming in and being more than productive when he's had the ball in his hands. And of course, big Malik Beef Williams leading the way for this SMU rushing attack with 11 rushing touchdowns during the regular season.
There's Liam Legg, and Liam Legg gets loose. Pushed out at the 30-yard line. And the biggest offensive spurt of the day comes from the senior from Truro, Nova Scotia.
And this is our first time today, Arash, where we have seen this offensive line for SMU win up front. And they have some big bodies themselves on this offensive line. Alan Young in at quarterback, by the way, for that play for SMU. Justin Shibley out. Young normally doing their short yardage package, but they started last year, and Legg with a great rip-off saved by the kicker's net.
They go back to the ground, this time not much space there. Sammy Joe Suda, the first man there to bring down Legg, who gained maybe a yard. But Liam Legg, what a run that was. Third leading rusher in the Atlantic Conference this season. Legg was actually one of the top special teams players in the Atlantic Conference a couple of years ago. Now it's him and Williams. Andy, as you talked about, big part of that St. Mary's rushing attack.
Yeah, he's still one of the best special teams players in the conference. A 2025 AUS All-Star at the rush cover position, Liam Legg. So just a guy who's got value on this team in multiple ways.
Shibley's back in. Shibley complete over the middle. And it's good to Aiden Keefe, brought down by Harold Miasan, the fifth-year senior who is a thumper.
Yeah, a crossing pattern over the middle with a ball thrown slightly high, and number 19 in blue waiting. Not where I'd personally want to be, but Keith did a good job bringing that one down, being able to protect himself a little bit.
But Mia-san just stopped him cold. And that'll bring up 3rd and 2. You know, you talk to Marco Idaluca, the Carabin coach, he'll tell you that Mia-san's just a ball of energy. The line he had, he said, he makes our whole defense grow an inch. As the Carabin will call the timeout here on 3rd and 2. Idaluca talking about his 5th year, man, saying, hey, look, you know, when he hits to punish. And that says something right there.
That says something. Yeah, Keith got away with that one, though. Well, crosser over the middle. Let's pick our spots.
What do you think of this call? 3rd and 2, you're down 15-0. Your offense hasn't done much today. Steve Samara brings out Adam Johnston in the field goal unit. I get you on points, but you're not going to get many trips inside the Carabin scoring zone. I'd like to see the offense out here. What about you?
Yeah, I think this speaks more to Steve Samara and the coaching staff's belief in their kicker. Adam Johnston, one of the best in the AUS. You saw the stats there, 13 to 16 on the year. So he's just been so solid for them throughout the season. They're looking for some positives here.
Kick is up and good for the all-conference kicker, but was there a flag? Did Montreal jump? That's the question. Could be an automatic first down for the Huskies, and it is. They got the Carabin to jump, and so the offside penalty will mean first down St. Mary's.
Well, how about our first big mistake of the day for the Carabin? We saw the late hit on SMU prove costly. Now it might be a fresh
Hors jeu, Montreal, Saint-Verge, Premier save. First down.
So maybe Steve Samara wanted to get the first down by penalty, not by keeping
He had a plan, Arash. He heard you, and he
had
had a plan. Don't worry about it. On the right side of the Montreal line, a little bit of movement.
From the Montreal 19, best field position today for St. Mary's, and it's picked off by Louis-Philippe Gauthier. He had an interception last week against Laval late in the game, and the senior from Montreal rips it away. What a play by Louis-Philippe Gauthier. Gauthier with 1 interception the entire regular season, 2 in the playoffs. Well, U Sports wants to hear from you about your viewing experience. Visit usportsfans.ca to join our fan advisory panel. Tell us about yourself and help shape future U Sports Championship broadcasts by giving your feedback and your chance to win U Sports prizes. Join the U Sports fan panel at usportsfans.ca. First St. Mary's trip into the red zone here in Halifax, and Justin Shibley picked off by Louis-Philippe Gauthier.
Yeah, an experienced member of this Montreal secondary, a guy who was featuring in the Vanier Cup 2 years ago when the Carabin won that in 2023. And coming up with a big play moments after what looked to be a really costly penalty by the Montreal special teams. Defense that time bailing out their buddies on special teams with a big play.
Meanwhile, here was a pass caught by Louis Drolet, but it's coming back on a holding penalty. So the St. Mary's defense has done okay. It's been solid so far. They've had their stops. The penalty, obviously, on the roughing extended the drive and led to a touchdown. And, you know, we talked to both coaches this week, and one thing Marco Idaluca said is, you know, you don't quite know what you're up against. You watch on film, there's no familiarity between these two teams. You don't really have an idea until you're up front from a physicality standpoint of what the discrepancy between AUS and our SEQ may be.
Yeah, size, speed, those are things you need to experience firsthand as an opponent before you know.
Arm strength too. Here's Pepe looking for Hassan Dussault. It's incomplete. Blanket coverage on the play. That ball just kind of hung in the air a little too long, and that was Lucas Latulip again in coverage.
Yeah, and this is sort of the progression when you're facing the Carabins. We're going to start out with these swing passes and hitches and see if you can defend that, how you can defend that. The next evolution when you're facing Montreal is now Pepe is going to let some go and really try to stretch you down the field, and early on a huge victory here for the SMU back end. Great coverage, sticking right with Dussault, step for step down the field.
There was a lot of interference on both sides. They just let them play. You'll like to see that. Second and long, Pepe. He has to move to his left, and he's picked off. Onoche Amuda, pick six, St. Mary's. There is a flag. Amuda hits the gritty, but will it be for naught? That's what we need to find out. Let's see what Greg McLean has to say.
Retenir, St. Mary's, holding, après l'interception, after the intersection, 10 verges, St. Mary's, premier essai.
So the interception will hold, the touchdown will not. And I'm not sure what Pepe Gonzalez saw here.
Well, keep your eye on the back end pursuit here, Arash, because as he starts to roll, I believe that might be Romario Reed chasing him down, and he gets just enough, a piece of his arm,
right,
to affect the throw. So Amuda gets the interception, but credit goes to the trailing defensive end on the Huskies, and I'm pretty sure that was Romario Reed with fantastic pursuit and athletic, kind of undersized D end who makes the play there, leading to the pick.
Really good field position for the Huskies. Here's Malik Williams, who crosses the 20 and met by a swarm of Carabins. In the middle of that is Mohamed El Shell with the stop. It'll be a pickup of 7. What a play by Amuda, the junior from Scarborough, Ontario. He's a backup to Aiden Simpson, but he gives St. Mary's their best starting field position on a drive here with 5 minutes gone by in the second quarter. The Huskies knocked on the door in their previous series. Here they are again inside the Carabin red zone on 2nd down and 4. 5 receivers set for Shibley. He scans, he fires, it's complete, and it's inside the 5-yard line, and that's Chandler St. Marie with the first down catch.
A great start to this drive for the SMU Huskies. We saw Malik Williams in there with positive yardage on first down with that pickup of 6, setting up very short, second and manageable. Shibley here delivers beautifully. Zeke Marrier, an athletic player who's dynamic on special teams. Here we see him in the slot to the boundary, settling nicely in that zone. He's not going to plow his way into the end zone, but he's able to find those soft spots, and SMU need to punch this in.
Malik Williams had 3 touchdowns last week against St. Avex. He has stood up inside the 5 this time. It's Mohamed El Shal again, the first man there. And it'll bring up 2nd down and goal.
And this is what SMU's not used to, Arash.
Yes.
We're looking at the best goal line running back in the country in 2025. Malik Williams, every time they got into this area of the field this season, this guy was a touchdown waiting to happen. 11 rushing touchdowns during the regular season, more, 2 against Acadia in the semifinals. So Malik Williams is not used to this. Trading pain at the 1-2, not getting in. He's been falling forward all season. Can they do it against this front?
That's the question here on 2nd and goal. It's back to Williams. And Williams again is met by that white wall of Carabin. This time coming downhill, it's Elijah Crame, the free safety, number 8, who made the stop. And yes, you are correct, Mr. Carabin. That is 3rd and goal coming up. Is this a decision for Steve Samara now?
Well, I think it's go time. You've made it this far, but it starts up front with big Bradley Nseka, number 95 there at defensive tackle. A phenomenal defensive tackle at this level, number 95 on Montreal. Bradley Nseka had some huge plays in this postseason for Montreal, and he's leading the way again there for the Carabin front.
So it's the backup, Alan Young, who takes the snap. It's 3rd and goal. Huskies' best chance, and it's incomplete. They were trying to find Joshua Jack, who wanted the flag. It was broken up by Matisse Berube, the senior from Sherbrooke. Young was looking for a flag. There's nothing there, and so St. Mary's comes up short again. Red zone defenses making their presence felt. 15-0 Montreal. So this was St. Mary's best shot right before the break. Alan Young looking to the back of the end zone for Joshua Jack, and it was swatted away by Mathis Berube. And that is why Montreal will begin this series from their own 3-yard line. 2025 Uteck Bowl National Semifinal. Arash Madani alongside Vanier Cup champion Andy Beckler. Sarah Said, the third member of our on-air crew. Montreal, the champions from the Quebec Conference. They upset Laval in Quebec City last week. That's Remy Lambert, the backup running back for the Carabins, who collects 3. The Carabins won the Vanier Cup in 2023 under Marco Idaluca, their head coach. Idaluca, at the beginning of this postseason, told his team, look, it's going to be a 4-step process to a national championship. And he said, coming to Halifax this week, it's step 3 for us on this journey. A journey that has a rookie quarterback, the top freshman in the Quebec Conference. From the gun, he goes back to Lambert, and he's brought down at the 10-yard line. It's Matthew Schill there alongside Brody Boudreau, and it's going to be a 2-and-out for the Montreal offense. So yet again, this St. Mary's defense is answering the call against a very strong Carabin attack.
Yeah, nice job here by SMU secondary. But that looks like it's Lucas Latulipkin, who's made several big plays today for the Huskies defense. So St. Mary's doing what they have to do defensively on that side of the ball. On the other side of Rash, just going back to that 3rd-and-goal attempt, an incomplete pass by Smew.
Yeah.
We're just looking at a Huskies offense that is a little out of their comfort zone.
Sure.
Because they get down to the 4 or 5 yard line, they give it to Malik Williams a couple times, and you're left.
It's been automatic all year.
And it's been
right?
automatic all year.
Yeah.
I like the play call by Steve Samara on that 3rd down with Alan Young in there at quarterback. They're kind of short yardage quarterback. I don't mind the play call back of the end zone, but just great coverage and answer by Montreal's D.
So the Huskies are on the board. The Carabins will concede the safety, a little pushing and shoving, a little welcome to Halifax. Good to have you here from Matthew Schill and company. And so St. Mary's finally on the board on his special teams play. Back to Husky Stadium and the Uteck Bowl after this. The road to the 60th Vanier Cup ends next Saturday in Regina, and CBC TV is your home for exclusive coverage of Canadian University football's biggest game. The 60th Vanier Cup Championship next Saturday, 2 Eastern on CBC TV, CBC Gem, and CBCSports.ca. Huskies begin from their own 35. The shadows cascading down on Halifax. A pickup of 5 there for Malik Williams, who's met first by Cisse from Ayman Cisse, the senior from Quebec. Bring up second and medium for St. Mary's. The goal line has been an issue for the Huskies. Short yardage has been an issue, and that's something big Malik Williams, the 5th-year man out of Ajax, Ontario, has not had to deal with for much of the season. This time, misfiring on the throw was Justin Shibley looking for Cherokee Robinson.
Cherokee Robinson, an explosive player for SMU. One that we haven't seen today. We haven't seen them get him going yet today, but someone you'd like to see them get the ball in his hands any way they can. One of the most athletic and explosive players on this SMU attack. That front, I'll say, that offensive line for SMU holding their own. We saw, gain of 5 on 1st down there by Malik Williams. Those are the types of positive 1st down plays that SMU needs. Now it's just a matter of finishing that up on the back end and getting this passing game into rhythm.
2-and-out St. Mary's, Cameron Brown. Line drive kick, a no yards penalty will come with it. Louis Drolet was able to field the football, and Montreal will have good field position as we come up on 5 minutes remaining in the opening half.
And you saw another low punt there by Cameron Brown. I'm not sure that these aren't by design. You go back and watch the last couple weeks of football for this SMU team, and there's been so many of these kind of low line drive punts. When they hit the ground, that's a nightmare for a returner. I used to return punts back in the day, Arash. I'm telling you, give me a punter with a big leg who booms them in the air. That's fun. That's fine all day. These hard low liners, great job that time by Montreal Turner Droulet to get under it, make the catch. Now you got 15 yards on St. Mary's, and you're in great field position.
Inside Huskies territory to open the series. They like Enrique Jem Leclerc. They like him in space. And he gets to the outside and close to a first down. They went in the air to Jem Leclerc to begin the ball game. 4 straight throws out to the sophomore, and now trying to find different ways to get him the football as he picks up 7.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's turned into one of my favorite receivers in the country to watch, just because of how many different things he does well. We saw him in the Quebec Championship game score on a reverse dive for the pylon. He had a huge day, 11 catches that day, over 100 yards to go with his rushing touchdown. So just a fun guy to watch at every level.
Back to Lambert. He's got the first down, and he's got more. There goes Remy Lambert with the stiff arm and shoved out of bounds at the 3-yard line. Ryan Butler was able to push him to the stripe, but not before a pickup of 41 yards for the junior out of Montreal.
And this is where Montreal starts to lean on you a little bit. Late second quarter, late fourth quarter. These are the times when defenders can start to get a little bit tired, especially the big boys up front. And that time, just perfect blocking by that Montreal offensive line as you see Lambert shoot through. Not touched until about 15 yards down the field at an ankle. So just a huge win up front. And now here comes the big package.
Barcelou is back in. Longest run of the year from Lambert. Barcelou shoves. Looks like he didn't quite get there. Marcus-Jean Lozier had the football, but the play was whistled dead. So maybe a gain of a yard or two to bring up 2nd and goal from the 1.
What do you think's coming next, Arash?
I like big 44, and the question is, do I go behind my all-Canadian left guard, or do I go behind my 311-pound
Dude, 311?
right guard?
No. You just bypassed something. Number 69, Adam Lachance. Right, he's in on this package.
Sure.
423 pounds.
It's a lot of steak.
The first number is a 4. Pepe's out here, but let's see if he's just splitting out wide again, keeping people honest. Yep, he's going to go hang out here. And behind 423-pound Adam Lachance.
There's the hat trick.
There he is. There's
the 3rd touchdown of the day for Barcelou.
Look, the U Sports Rugby Championships, that concluded recently.
Yes.
Just to, don't want you to confuse yourself what you're watching here early on.
I tell you what,
there it is.
Barcelou had 38 rushing yards the entire year. He's had 17 today on 3 touchdowns. And he
One,
two, un, deux, trois.
Yeah, there we go.
And it's not halftime yet.
No, it's not.
And it's not halftime yet.
And Adam Lachance loving it. I can't believe that. 423.
Philippe Boyer on for the extra point. The celebration on the Carabins sideline, and it's Montreal leading 22-2 with 3.5 minutes to go before the half. The 3rd member of our crew, Sarah Said, standing by for our halftime show here at the 2025 Uteck Bowl. Just a reminder, the 2nd game of our doubleheader, the Mitchell Bowl, Queens, Saskatchewan, is coming up next on CBC Gem. Mark Lee and Deshaun Stevens will have the call for the Huskies and the Gales. Queens with the upset win over the Laurier Golden Hawks last week. Saskatchewan knocking off the University of Regina. I think a lot of people looked at Laurier, they looked at what Cal Wither was doing, and they thought it'd be automatic that the #1 team in the country would be headed west. not so fast. The Queens Gales are in a national bowl game.
Steve Snyder doing an excellent job with that program in Kingston. Queens strong on all three phases of the game, so just put together an excellent performance there. And then, you know, we led our show at Rash with a little AUS drought here in terms of last Vanier Cup title, last Vanier Cup appearance for an AUS school. Saskatchewan Huskies, last Vanier 98. You know, they're itching with to make it to Regina. Don't have to leave the province to play for a natty, so you know they'll be ready to go at Husky Stadium in Saskatoon later today.
What a November for Saskatchewan football. The Riders are in the Grey Cup.
Could be a pretty good November for Montreal football.
Yeah, could be a great one.
How about that?
Yeah. So St. Mary's will take over with 3:32 to go in the opening half. Good special teams gets that kind of celebration on the Carabins sideline. Justin Shibley and company will take over at their own 24.
So despite the 22-2 scoreline we have here late in the second quarter, this SMU offense is not built to sit back and now just sling it. Have Justin Shibley put the ball in the air 45 times and see if we can come back. So it's not time to abandon the run game. The last 3 first downs have been good yardage on the ground. So this is not a Huskies team that can just become one-dimensional, unleash a Montreal passing attack. They have to hang in here, continue with what they do best, and see if they can make some positive steps here in the next quarter and a half.
Oh, and those are the throws you just have to make. Aiden Keefe wasn't able to bring it in. Shibley threw it behind him to bring up 2nd and long. You just want to generate some offense, and this is a high percentage throw. There's a lot of green grass in front of you. And Shibley misfired. Yep,
but even if he makes that, you know, there's not much there. You got Gauthier coming downhill, number 9 in your screen. You just see coming at the end. He's on that, so we're looking at 2nd and long either way.
On this one, Shibley puts some air underneath it, trying to find Tridell Mintus. And it's a 2 and out for the Huskies offense, and now Montreal will get another crack at it with under 3 minutes to play in the opening half.
Yeah, and Montreal is an offense that can strike quickly, so we'll be maybe looking at a Pepe letting one go here before we reach halftime. Wouldn't be surprised.
3-minute warning in Halifax. Halifax Waterfront, what a day. Coming up next, the 2025 Mitchell Bowl. Queens and Saskatchewan just after 3 o'clock Eastern time, 4 o'clock in Nova Scotia. They're not far from the bicycle field. If you're ever in downtown Halifax, I mean, you just have to go to the bicycle.
What about Salties?
Yeah,
or no,
is closed.
Ah!
Yes.
I'm sorry, all my references are dated.
Yes. Cow's ice cream right beside Salty's still there.
Dear.
Cameron Brown on to punt for the Huskies. Spiral kick will be fielded at the midfield stripe by Louis Drolet, and he'll hop out at about the 44 or so yard line. Zach Sherrato forced him out of bounds.
Yeah, if Louis Drolet can continue to do that the rest of the day, catch these low liners in the air, the Carabins special teams are going to be winning that battle and doing themselves a favor with another great starting field position here for the Carabin offense.
Feels like most of the day they've started in Huskies territory. Pepe Gonzalez, the quarterback for Montreal, born in Mexico, moved to Canada at the age of 7, grew up on the West Island of Montreal, won a high school championship, this time complete out to Hassan Dosso, who is immediately met by Marcus-Jean Loescher. Check that, Ryan Butler, the free safety. After high school, Gonzalez went on to play Cégep football at André Grasset, where he was introduced to an Idaluca. Not Marco Idaluca, the Carabin coach, but Tony, Marco's brother. Last year, Grasset got to the semifinals in Cégep football, lost to Champlain-Lennoxville. Pepe showed up on campus in Montreal only late in the summer. Here on 2nd and 8, Gonzalez puts some air underneath it into double coverage, and there is a flag. Isaiah Atkins saying, hold on, I didn't do anything wrong. A corner never does, of course. Gonzalez trying to find Simon LaRose.
I don't know, Arash. I might have to be with Atkins on this one. It looked like he was in good position, kind of fighting for body position here to turn around and find the ball. See, he even turns his head there at the end.
There's not much there.
No, that's no flag for me. So I'm with Atkins on that one. Again, the SMU secondary, I've been impressed with today.
Yes.
Every time they've tried to stretch him, test him, Atkins and company have been there. So Husky secondary is standing strong.
Yeah, but call pass interference.
We got it. We got it.
It's a weak call.
Yeah, well, and I guess the problem is when you're facing, Steve Samara unhappy, and I get that. When you're facing a quarterback who stretches the field and tests you down the field like that, it can lead to some of those calls as well. Like that's part of the challenge as a secondary. You're in great position, you did your job, and unfortunately, you're still punished for it.
There's Gregory Melenda St. Pierre, who's tripped up by Romario Reed.
There's some
and Jazante Smith also there on the stop.
There's some really nice pieces on the back end of this SMU secondary, Arash. We talked a little bit about Keyshawn Beswick last week in the big game he had in Maloney. Ryan Butler had that tackle on the first play of this drive. Butler, a fantastic free safety. Leading the nation in interceptions. So a lot of really nice pieces. And the one we had a question mark about today, number 12, Isaiah Atkins. He's come into this field corner spot, and he's stood strong so far every time he's been tested.
Atkins there in place of Logan Mendez, who's suspended this week after a late hit. Flags fly. Gonzalez throws it up, and it's a touchdown. It is a touchdown to his deep target, Simon LaRose, but will the play stand? Usually that's in the holding category, and let's see if Greg McLean agrees with us.
Hands to the face, mental cast versus Montreal, 10 verges, deuxième essai.
Close enough to a hold.
Yeah, and honestly, a little bit of a product, again, of great coverage down the field. You saw that Pepe had lots of time in the pocket. First read that not there. Second read not there. Big Mikael Biggs pushing his way about 7-8 yards deep into the pocket. And yeah, you can't blame the Montreal O-line when you got 310 pounds there from Edmonton, Alberta coming up.
Some exotic defensive looks. Are they bringing pressure? They're not. Instead, it's over here to Drolet, who hops past the 30, gets to the 35. And that won't be enough for a first down. So La Tulip again in the middle of all of it. It's the St. Mary's defense getting it done. And you talked about that secondary. A shout out to Jermaine Gabriel, the defensive backs coach for the Huskies. If the name sounds familiar, yes, the same Jermaine Gabriel, who was a terrific CFL defensive back, played at Bishop's University under Leroy Blue for a couple of years, and now has come in and done a really nice job with the Huskies defensive backfield as coach.
Yep, Huskies on 2nd and long there, just making sure they get helmets to the ball. Nice job, yards after catch here by Drolet, but Huskies able to stand strong, and we got our first Carabins. Well, not the first. The first one didn't go so well.
That's right.
From about 5 yards in.
33-yard attempt for Philippe Boyer. And it's blocked. Boyer having a rough day on field goals. The special teams unit of the Huskies delivering. Now, why that play was whistled dead is beyond me. That ball was on the ground. It's a live ball.
Was it big Mikael Biggs who got a hand on this one? We can't tell from that look. The kick came out low again. And then, yeah, we see this. When it comes down, I couldn't tell if it touched Boyer as well. But, yeah, it looked like the big right paw of Biggs up there in the middle. The big man getting up just enough to block that.
Oh, that's a blown call.
Right by the Huskies sideline, they wanted.
That could have been a touchdown.
Well, and that, like we said, that's kind of the ticket today, isn't it? A big play on D, a big play on special teams. The Huskies got one there to keep it at 22-2, but wanted more on that one. But again, Biggs first, he's the guy who drew the hands to the face call to take the touchdown away from the Carabins. Now he comes up big on specials.
Shipley, complete to the 50.
Yeah, Shipley.
Joshua Jack.
Yeah, and Shipley's best throw of the day. Delivered that one confidently just over the first level of linebackers, right into that soft spot on the second level. Joshua Jack, the guy we said needs to get going, probably the most athletic and explosive player on this SMU offense. Maybe Cherokee up there as well, but definitely someone they need to make a difference today. Zink Marier's turn now.
Yeah, Shibley finds him into Carabin territory out at the 46. And so now suddenly we're starting to see the St. Mary's offense go a little bit. Shibley first finding Joshua Jack, then Zink Marier. And those are the kind of plays St. Mary's wants. Trying to find your receiver in a little bit of space and then let your playmaker go.
Yeah, and St. Mary's looking good kind of in their 1-2 minute drill here as well. Going with the underneath coverage again. Cade Smith on the outside, number 21, doing a good job on his man. Anytime you get big gains like this, it means someone downfield's usually doing their job. That time it was Cade Smith helping out his buddy. Huskies on the move a bit.
18 yards to Jack, 15 yards to Zink Marier. Climbing the ladder for the catch is Chandler Zink Marier. What a grab for the redshirt junior out of Bridgewater, Nova Scotia. Acrobatic catch for Chandler Zink Marier.
Yeah, the athleticism on full display here. You're looking at a guy who led the AUS in all-purpose yards this season with over 1,000. He can catch it, he can return it, and apparently he can go up the ladder and get it too, even though he's undersized. Incredible catch.
Our first look at Cherokee Robinson, the all-conference receiver for the Huskies, the leading receiver in the Atlantic Conference this year. Under a half minute to play in the second quarter.
So this isn't the SMU offense on a normal day, Arash. We know that. We know this is a run-first team, but now we're seeing their 1 minute drill. And we haven't seen Justin Shibley look this good all day.
Or this comfortable.
Or this comfortable. So at a certain point in the second half, you're going to be going to the locker room going, that 1 minute drill was okay.
Yeah.
Are we sure we shouldn't be speeding this up, Heenan? But we'll see. We know the Carabins also like to come at the quarterback, so keeping Shibley upright will also be a challenge.
They did there. The pressure was picked up. And another completion and another first down, this time to Cade Smith as the clock ticks to 22 seconds remaining in the first half.
And now it's about finishing, right? We saw the Huskies on 3rd and goal earlier in the half, unable to convert. This has been a fantastic drive, their best of the day, but we need to finish it.
Getting to the 9-yard line, back to Zink Marier. Louis-Philippe Gauthier there with the stop, 17 seconds to go. They collect 5 on that one.
Hey guys, come on now, let's go.
We mentioned, SMU being kind of in their 1-2 minute drill here at Rash. You kind of feel like Montreal as well might be in a little bit of the same from a defensive perspective in terms of kind of some of the softer coverage throughout the course of this drive. That also doesn't fall in line with the Carabins, who we know are aggressive, like to come after the quarterback. Haven't been sending more than 4 much. When are they going to take their chance and send an extra body Shibley's way?
So 17 seconds to go. Sumera uses the timeout. 2nd and 5. You need a touchdown. What do you like here? What do you call here as Alan Young and Justin Shibley listen to their coach?
Well, I mean, I think it's more about just getting the ball to your best players. And for me, that's going to be either, Zink Marier, who we've seen big on this drive, who we really like, and there's so many different options on how to use him, or Joshua Jack, a guy we highlighted off the top. This is the area of the field where you need to win some one-on-one battles, and I think it's time for some of these SMU playmakers to step up and have a shot.
2nd and 5 from the 9. Shibley with time. Shibley into traffic, and he's picked off for a 2nd time today. Samuel Lapierre with the interception in the end zone. So Shibley, who was picked off on a previous red zone trip just before the goal line, goes into the back corner, and there's Lapierre. And St. Mary's has had their chances, and they have just come up empty.
It feels like about 14 points this half left on the table by SMU. This ball comes out late. It's a corner. Look at the receiver waiting for this to come down. You have DBs falling off of coverage, going back to make a play. The play call itself, okay. The timing and delivery of the ball just comes out of Shibley's hands too late with too much air under it.
Yeah.
Watch number 11, Joshua Jack, little pick there. That's a man that's supposed to be opening up a corner. At first I thought, ooh, is that going to be called? There's some contact down the field. No flag on that, but the ball needs to be coming out so much earlier on that play.
Yeah, they're looking for their deep vertical threat, Cherokee Robinson, and is into triple coverage, and the ball just fluttered in the air. And Samuel Lapierre is enjoying the championship belt. The Montreal Carabins enjoying a 20-point lead at the half. A 3-touchdown first half for Mathieu Barcelot. And the Carabin defense have kept St. Mary's off the board.
Welcome back to the Uteck Bowl on CBC. Earlier this week, I spoke with Sue Uteck about the legacy of her late husband, Larry Uteck, who the Uteck Bowl is named after. Larry was a leader, coach, and community builder whose impact on St. Mary's and Canadian University football is still felt today.
Hi, I'm Sue Uteck. I'm Larry Uteck's widow, and we're here today and looking forward to the first time in 15 years of celebrating the Uteck Bowl here in Halifax. I think his representation, first of all, I'll step back, and he was quite humbled by the honor of the bowl game being named after him. And I think it's just the legacy is that, Larry came from a pretty tough upbringing, and, life wasn't always kind to him. And his legacy is he just kept working through it all. Well, I think you have to remember, sir, when Larry came in 1980, St. Mary's hadn't made the playoffs in 15 years. So there was all this expectation and excitement around him. He went 0-7 the first year, then he went 2-5, and then he got the famous quarterback Chris Flynn to complete his puzzle, and it was onward and upwards from there. So I think the legacy that he really truly leaves is one of hard work and determination does pay off. He was not only the athletic director, head football coach, he was also the area alderman and the mayor at the same time. So, I think, again, the legacy for student athletes is, anything's possible. Both Larry and I are not, we're still considered CFAs, come from a ways, even though you've lived here for 40 years. We weren't Haligonians, and the city embraced him. Larry was very quiet. He was very humbling. But if he did get upset, he would usually be halfway under a goalpost correcting an official in the call, and they'd go, "Actually, you're right, Larry, sorry about that." And then it was a pat, just a very, very quiet, humble guy. I think his professional career taught him, he was obviously a hometown boy from Thornhill, Ontario, lived his dream playing for the Toronto Argonauts, and then suddenly got traded. So, Larry knew the power of defeat. He scored the game-winning touchdown interception to get the Montreal Alouettes into the Grey Cup, only to be defeated. And I think one of the unique facts about Larry is he had never won a championship until he came to St. Mary's and started winning championships. During the heyday, this was the only game in town. It would be, unfortunately, our field, our stadium has fallen into hard times, and we hope to revitalize it along with our athletic director, Scott Gray, who's doing a great job. But this was the place to go. This was and even when we had Friday night, it was Friday night lights in Halifax, and games would always, on a regular 8,000 to 10,000 people. I think his gift to his charges was that, always exhibit kindness, always do something for others before you do something for yourself, and to give back to your community. And there are many, many of the hundreds of the players. It's such a pleasure to see somebody that played for him to be a football coach themselves. And there's many of them all across Canada, business leaders in the community and community caregivers. So yeah, it's quite the job he did.
You're watching the Uteck Bowl on CBC. We'll return after the break. Welcome back to the Uteck Bowl on CBC. Up next, Mark Lee and Deshaun Stevens preview the 2025 Mitchell Bowl happening today at 3 p.m. Eastern in Saskatoon.
Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, the Paris of the Prairies, where today the Mitchell Bowl will feature two very evenly matched football teams in the Queens Gales and the Saskatchewan Huskies. And how about the Gales? They've been playing like a pack of hungry wolves during the playoffs, rampaging into Laurier last week and knocking off the top-ranked team in the country, the unbeaten Golden Hawks, shocking them with 5 first-half turnovers.
Mark, this Queens defense, led by a veteran core, has been disciplined and stubborn throughout these entire playoffs. As you mentioned, marched into Laurier last week and forced 5 interceptions in the first half. They only threw 4 interceptions all season long. Led by Justin Pace and Jacob Baldwin, this defense was able to get it done and launch this program back to their first national semifinal in 16 seasons.
All right, let's talk about the Huskies in Saskatoon. Saskatchewan was down by 15 points going into the fourth quarter against Regina, and then mounted a comeback behind their first-year starting quarterback, Jake Farrell.
Yes, it was Jake Farrell magic last week in the Hardy Cup. The first-year starter threw for 179 passing yards and 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter alone. And 2 of those touchdowns were to rookie receivers in Mason Grabowski and Liam Peachinen to launch this Huskies program back to their 3rd national semifinal appearance in 5 years.
Both teams are battle-tested. Saskatchewan unbeaten at home, but how about the Road Warriors? Queens 6-0 on the road.
Yeah, it's very impressive what this Queens team has done. They're almost comfortable on the road this year, especially in their last 2 games on the playoffs, having to travel to Windsor and defeat a very good Windsor Lancers program. And then last week in the Yates Cup, going to a hostile environment in Waterloo and picking up a 3-point win over Laurier in the Yates Cup to launch themselves back to national semifinal.
It's Queens and Saskatchewan in the 2025 Mitchell Bowl. There's the big Husky all pumped up for Game 2 of our U Sports doubleheader coming your way at 3:08 Eastern.
You're watching the Uteck Bowl on CBC. We'll be back after the break.
Show in the first half, the Montreal Carabins fullback with 3 touchdowns. 1-3. It's a 20-point Carabin lead at the half, and this is what they do. In short yardage, they go to their sophomore to get it done for them, and he has today.
I prefer a FB in front of that position title there instead of running back. Or, hey, put a Q. The way he's under center. Short yardage package for Montreal, doing the damage in that first half.
And it's the defense that's gotten it done for the Carabins as well. Justin Shibley was under siege early in the game with the pressure, and then the takeaways. Louis-Philippe Gauthier with the interception, Mathis Berube with the breakup, and then right before the half, Samuel Lapierre with the takeaway on a throw into triple coverage at the end of the second quarter.
Yeah, that St. Mary's offense with some real opportunities. A 3rd and goal from the 1-2 yard line, unable to convert. A couple of picks, one right on the goal line, another one deep in the end zone. So the Huskies have had their chance. They get 1 or 2 of those. This game looks and feels a lot different than what it does right now at the break.
Now, St. Mary's has kept this a football game in large part because of their defense. You see Wesley Johnson McDuff there with the deflection, and then the interception from Manuche Amuda, and then Big Mikhail Biggs on the field goal block. This should have been returned for a touchdown instead of a whistle dead for no reason. But how about Amuda, the backup halfback, the junior from Scarborough, Ontario, who we thought may have had a pick 6, but it was called back on a holding on the return.
Well, Amuda's a perfect example of how today for SMU, there's been everybody getting it done on the back end. We've seen Isaiah Atkins filling in at fieldside corner, make some really nice plays in coverage. We've seen Lucas Ladalupe everywhere. We've seen lots of guys on this SMU secondary getting the job done. This is the best offense that SMU has faced all season, right? The Montreal Carabins. But the score, I know the score's not where they want it. The Huskies defense has held their own through these first 2 quarters of play.
They've held the best freshman quarterback and the freshman player in the country to under 100 yards passing in the opening half.
Yeah, and Pepe's usually good for about 270, 280 or
Sure.
something through the air. So, yeah, we've heard all season how good this SMU defense is. Through these first 2 quarters, we've seen it now firsthand against some of the top talent in the country. It's just unfortunate for SMU, those chances early on, and you also have to tip your cap to the Carabin defense, stepping up when they need to make those plays on the back end.
So St. Mary's trails 20. Their best offensive series of the half came right before the break. They were able to march. They were able to get into the red zone. They were distributing the football underneath stuff. 15 here, 17, 18 yards there. 19 yards on an acrobatic grab by Morier. What do you want to see now from the St. Mary's offense? Obviously, you had 3 red zone trips. You came away with no points. How does this offense get going?
Well, I think, obviously it comes down to finishing, right? We've seen the Huskies able to move the ball today, even a nice run as well by Liam Legg. So we've seen them show the ability to pick up some chunk plays against this Carabin defense. It's just a matter of finishing, right? Don't turn this ball over, and when you get down there in the second half, Huskies are going to have to finish it off and get some points on the board.
So St. Mary's will kick off to open the 3rd quarter. This is the 2025 Uteck Bowl National Semifinal, University football. The winner of this will head to Regina next week for the Vanier Cup. They'll play the winner of Queens and Saskatchewan coming up next right here on CBC. Alongside Vanier Cup champion Andy Beckler, I'm Arash Madani. Sarah Saeed is the 3rd member of our crew. 3rd quarter is underway off the toe of Adam Johnston, and it is returnable from their own 3-yard line, and that is Jamal Louis, who is back in the Carabin lineup. He is a speedster and gets it back to the 47-yard line. A 45-yard run back for Jamal Louis, who can absolutely fly.
Great start to the second half for the Carabin. Yes, you see the speed. It's just one cut wide side of the field, and nothing but hold down turbo for number 38, who's not touched until about the 40-yard line. So the Carabin special teams getting this 3rd quarter started off on the right foot.
Right foot indeed from their own 47. Here's Pepe Gonzalez, complete over the middle, past midfield. And just shy of a first down, they go to Brandon Gourgon for the 2nd time today, the 5th-year man out of Gatineau, Quebec.
So just one thing to note, Arash, because we haven't got to this yet earlier for our viewers, but we talk about this rookie quarterback for the Carabin, Pepe Gonzalez. The receiving core, super talented. The offensive line, though, so strong for Montreal. This is a unit that gave up 5 sacks, 6 sacks all season. Pepe was 5 of those, and another quarterback for 1 of them. But how about helping out your rookie quarterback by saying, we'll keep you clean? That's the biggest thing you can do. And the Carabin front 5 have done that all season long.
This is the U Sports version of the tush push. Go with the fullback under center. Matthew Barcelou is going to get you the first down.
He's going to keep going? Is that what we're doing in the second half?
I think so. If it's not broke, why fix it? First down for Montreal at the St. Mary's 51. You know, Pepe Gonzalez, first year at the helm. You talk to Marco Idaluca, he just says no moment is too big for him. And just how much Gonzalez loves football as they hand it off up the middle to Remy Lambert. He'll pick up 8. On Tuesday at practice, it was snowing, and Montreal, Gonzalez shows up. He's loving being out there in the snow, and that's what kind of Idaluca said has become so infectious. Just how much Pepe loves football has really impacted everybody on that team too.
Yeah, and it was an open competition coming into training camp. Week 1 of the season, you know, Pepe was splitting reps for that week 1 matchup with the Carabin backup, Rakeem Canal Charles. So it wasn't his job right away. But after week 1, by week 2, they made the decision. They said, you won it, it's yours. He had a really rough, here's Barcelona again.
Here's Barcelona again.
He had a really rough, we mentioned 4 interception game back in September against Laval. Montreal lost. Oh, they got him. They got him.
They got back.
But it's 3rd and 1.
It's 3rd and 1. They'll do the same thing again. Barcelo tried to get a little cute.
But yeah,
He tried to show some athleticism. Hey, 44, just up the middle.
by the time you get to carry number 11 on the day as the short yardage, time to get creative. But just to go back to Pepe quickly, what jumps out to me, Arash, is sticking with a rookie quarterback. That's easy to do when you're tearing it up and everything's good. When you throw 4 picks on the road and lose to your biggest rival in Laval and got to go back in the locker room and carry on the rest of the season saying, no, that's still our guy, that takes a lot of leadership from Marco and the crew. Takes a lot of belief from everybody on the team, and to watch him grow and watch this team believe and build around him, yeah, it's special.
Flag flies on 3rd and short. It looks like it's offside St. Mary's, so it's all moot.
See, Barcelo knew he had the third one coming in, so.
And you wonder, how is Rakeem Canal-Charles going to deal with this? I mean, he's in his 4th year of eligibility. As you see, Greg McLean call the offside penalty. For 3 years, he's behind Jonathan Senecal, and you understand it. Senecal is one of the best quarterbacks in the country, gets drafted into the pros. And you're Canal-Charles, you know the offense inside and out. The coaches keep telling you we have complete confidence in you. And along comes this rookie, and he gets the job. And one thing that Marco Idaluca told him, he said, look, you didn't lose the job. Pepe went out and won it. Here he is off the play fake, looking for the end zone, and just overthrows Hassan Doso. Bring up 2nd and 10. And, you know, you wonder, is that going to linger? Is that going to be a factor? And one thing Idaluca told us, he said, after that, it was never a problem. Is that Canal-Charles became the biggest supporter of Pepe, and that's really helped kind of the locker room harmony, if you will, over there at Université de Montréal.
Yeah, and nothing helps the harmony in the locker room more than beating the Rouge et Or.
Sure.
Throw that in there once during the season, and then of course in La Coupe Jacques Rousseau as well, the Quebec Championship game, and now you got something really special.
2nd and 10. Gonzalez loses it, and it's scooped up by the Huskies. That's Jamari Brown, the junior from Oshawa, and is tracked down at the 15-yard line. Biggest defensive play of the day from the St. Mary's defense.
Exactly what the Huskies needed. A big play on D, and now, of course, we'll get to this in a second, it's time to finish it off. It's time to turn it into something. But for now, again, this defense has just been on a different level the entire season, and this time on 2nd and long,
it was just a 4-man rush.
Yeah, 4-man rush, but coming in
pressure
late. That's so hard on an offensive line. You think you have everyone accounted for, and now can the Huskies make something of it?
Brown rumbled 29 yards on the return as Williams is unable to get much of anything. Harold Miasan in the middle of that yet again. Was that a delayed blitz that came off the edge from Jazonte Smith? What exactly was that?
Yeah, we didn't get a look at the wide look there, but just you saw him coming in with so much speed at the very end. Obviously, Pepe pre-snap would have saw that as him in coverage. He comes in late, but now a loss of 1 on 1st down, and the Huskies starting at about the 15-yard line need 7 points here, and they're now up against it.
On 2nd and 11, Shibley over the middle, incomplete. In and out of the hands of Cherokee Robinson. And by the time it got to Tridell Mintus, it was too low. So all the fumble return will do is create a field goal opportunity, and the Huskies offense that had shown some signs of life before the break now misfires on 2 straight plays.
Yep, and now, you know, Justin Shibley and company are going to have to stick together and try to stay positive, because there's been so many chances now that have slipped through their fingers, just like that pass. Johnston's going to try to at least get 3 more on the board here to try to get a bit of momentum for SMU after that great play from their defense.
22-yard attempt. Adam Johnston is good. And the Huskies have their first offensive points of the afternoon. It's a 3-score game in the first of our 2 national semifinals here on CBC. The road to the 60th Vanier Cup ends next Saturday in Regina, and CBC TV is your home for exclusive coverage Canadian University football's biggest game. It's the 60th Vanier Cup next Saturday, 2 Eastern. CBC TV, GEM, and CBC Sports.ca. Will Pepe Gonzalez and the Montreal Carabins be there? They lead by 17 with 5 minutes gone by in the third quarter of this 2025 Uteck Bowl, and this is a lot more of the Carabin offense we expected. Quick hits like this one out to Enrique Jem Leclerc, immediately sniffed out by Colon Edwards, but there is a flag.
Great job that time by Colon Edwards, just flying to the ball. So this one might be coming back.
I tell you what, I know this is not what you do in football. I'd take 2nd and 10 against the Carabin offense.
Ritenier holding Montreal. Desvers 10 yards, first down again.
Rather than 1st and 20. I know that's not what the book says to do, but against
Yeah.
this offense, shoot, why not?
Well, it was a great win on first down for SMU. Again, there's Colon Edwards just flying up. And, you know, this is the type of kind of aggression you would start to expect with Montreal's tendency to do these quick hitters on first down like that. You got to be ready for that if you're SMU, and that time they were.
Looking again, this side of the field, it's complete to Simon LaRose. They'll get a few there. It's a good little hook up there, the junior from Montreal with the freshman quarterback from Montreal. LaRose has really kind of come on the last few weeks for the Carabins, especially while Montreal was dealing with some injuries to Weddens Alexandre and the rest.
It's a deep receiving core. A little tip there at the line of scrimmage as well on that one.
Matthew Schill got a paw on it.
Yeah, there's lots of guys in this Montreal receiving core who can get it done in some different ways, and LaRose certainly one of those guys in the mix.
Carabins need to get to the SMU 45. There's pressure again. Back to Jean Leclerc. And it's Colon Edwards who makes the stop again. So he opened the series with the tackle that was moot. He ends this possession with a stop, and the St. Mary's defense is continuing to show up, even as a shaken up Isaiah Okoli continues to stay on the field.
Yeah, we saw Okoli leave in that first half.
And he's still favoring that
side. Yeah, I was
side.
going to say, good to see him back in the game, but how much back in the game is he really? Colon Edwards, a great series there. 2025 AUS All-Star at halfback. Actually began his career as a linebacker, but so quick, so athletic. Has made some big plays for this SMU defense and made a couple on that possession.
And the punt is bobbled. And the Huskies make another big special teams play. It started with the blocked field goal, and now some pushing and shoving and who knows what kind of talking, and we have a flag. It'll all happen after the play, so the Huskies will take over inside Carabin territory. The question is, how deep or how far behind after this flag? Let's leave it to Greg McLean and his crew to figure it out. I mean, that ball was just dropped by Philippe Boyer.
Well, this is SMU's chance. This is SMU's path in this game. It's in front of them. They've had their opportunities, and they're about to get another.
Conduct, objectionable conduct, St. Mary's. 10-yard penalty after the play. First down, St. Mary's.
At some point, the Huskies have to get out of their own way. Another opportunity for St. Mary's when we return to Halifax. It was a tall task for Gavin Lake, the defensive coordinator of the St. Mary's Huskies, coming into this, and what a start to the second half. First the strip sack, then you had Colon Edwards coming in to sniff out second down, and on special teams, it's the St. Mary's Huskies delivering again. Down 17, nearing the midway point of the third quarter. St. Mary's has had so many chances. They've come up empty on most. Now they begin from the Carabin 39-yard line in this national semifinal. Justin Shibley from the shotgun. Off the play fake, connects to Cherokee Robinson, and they're down to the 4-yard line. The leading receiver in Atlantic Canada has St. Mary's in business. First and goal.
Well, the St. Mary's Huskies defense belongs on the national stage. The St. Mary's Huskies special teams belong on the national stage, and now it's a matter of SMU getting it done on offense, and this is a good way to do it. They have some really talented players on that side of the ball, including Cherokee Robinson right there. Great speed through the middle of that Carabin defense. Now it's up to the Huskies to punch it in.
That's a 35-yard pickup for Cherokee Robinson. The deep man here on 1st and goal is Malik Williams. He's got Biggs blocking to his left. Williams into the end zone, and St. Mary's has its first touchdown of the day. Williams had 3 touchdowns last week against St. FX, 2 in the Atlantic semifinal, and how about bringing in a big defensive tackle to seal off the edge?
Yeah, and this is what it looks like when a DB tries to take down 225 pounds of Malik Beef Williams. I mean, he's pretty much untouched coming to the backfield and bounces off of him. That's why all season in the AUS, this guy was the best goal line option in the conference. Led the conference in rushing touchdowns, and that's what the Huskies have seen all season, and that is so desperately what the Huskies needed early in the second half.
You can add another touchdown to that one, 17 on the year, 11 of them came in the regular season. And Malik Williams is not just a heck of a football player in his 5th year out of Ajax, Ontario, a 2-time academic All-Canadian too. And here come the Huskies. All of a sudden, it is a 2-score game as we come up on the midway point of the 3rd quarter. And Andy Beckler, you and I have done 6, 7 Uteck Bowls for the first time in forever. We have ourselves a competitive football game with the Atlantic Conference in a national semifinal.
And you have to give a lot of credit to this SMU defense and special teams for they've made so many plays throughout the day. On the other side of the ball, Montreal's not having a clean game. This is not the caliber of Carabin football that we saw in the Quebec final, that we saw earlier in the season. We've seen some mistakes from Montreal throughout the course of the day, you know, both in penalties as well as just some errors on the field. So this is SMU's opportunity to stay in this game, keep this a game. We'll see if the Carabin can clean some things up and get back to the caliber of football we've seen from them in the past.
So the good field position for Montreal. They'll start at their own 40. Nice special teams tackle there made by Onuche Amuda, who had the interception in the first half. So now Pepe Gonzalez. This offense has had a failure to launch here in the 3rd quarter. What are you expecting from the Montreal offense here?
Well, we've seen the Huskies sniffing out some of these really short, quick hitters that the Carabin love to do in the backfield. It might be time to get back to the. I know they don't have their starting running back today, but it might be time to get back to that ground game again to see if that Montreal front can win.
And right away, there's LaRose, who's swallowed up by Lucas Latulip. What a day so far for the sophomore from Halifax, who makes the tackle.
Yep, it's another win on first down for the SMU defense. Pepe with a quick hitter here to LaRose, but there you see just they're coming downhill. Everything's downhill from SMU, and I think the reason they're able to do that is because they handled those deep shots earlier in the game, and they weren't burned by that, so they're not back on their toes a little bit. They're ready to sniff out these short yardages on first down.
2nd down and 4. Pressure from the Huskies. Lambert is able to barrel through, crossing the 50 and a first down. Check that. That was Mulunda St. Pierre, the backup, who was able to move the stick.
Yeah.
So that's exactly what Montreal needed.
And it was a strong finish to that run because Ryan Butler, the star safety for SMU, did a good job of coming up to help out with the run game there, made contact a couple yards before the first down chains, but that time the Carabin able to power through.
They like to follow that big man there. Alassane Diouf, the all-star senior left guard. They go back to the ground. They go back to Mulunda St. Pierre, and it's a first down. Again, he's tripped up by Keyshawn Beswick, not before a pickup of 16.
Yeah, and we've seen the Carabin rushing attack have some success today, even though this is not their identity. They want to come out and throw the ball all over the field. They want to extend their run game through the hitches and the quick passes and stuff. But when you're winning up front and you're picking up chunk yardage on the ground like this, you can't go away from that, even though you're without your starting tailback today. Dembele's out for Montreal, but we've seen Lambert and now
movement up front from the Carabins.
Now St. Pierre both doing a good job filling in, and it was another run, so it might be time for Gabriel Cousineau and this Carabin coaching unit to keep the ball on the ground.
Procedure illegal procedure. Montreal, St. Pierre's, 5 yards. Repeat first down.
And I don't think that philosophy changes if it's 1st and 10 or 1st and 15 in this case.
Yeah, it's such an interesting time in the, and there's our big guy, Adam Lachance, our 423-pound right guard, who we were sneaking behind the entire first half on crutches. So he had a first half he won't forget, helping Barcelona get those 3 touchdowns, but looks like they'll need the biggest cape on the sideline to keep him warm.
That's right.
They got it.
That might be 2 stitched together. Gonzalez with time. Gonzalez over the middle. Gonzalez complete. Back to LaRose. Simon LaRose gets the first down. Ryan Butler brought the wood, and he may have shaken himself up on that hit.
Or it might have been a little bit of friendly fire as well as he got in there. Again, this guy is one of the best free safeties in Canada. You'll see Pepe put that ball in there with some zip. You've got the Tulip and Butler both crashing. Yeah, it is Butler who delivers that hit. These Huskies have delivered lots of heavy hits throughout the course of the 2025 season. LaRose, incredible job to hold on to that, absorb that contact for the first down. But yeah, the identity of this, not the first down, sorry, second one, just short.
Just short. Is it Barcelona time?
Yep.
It's Matthew Barcelona time. If you're just joining us, this is their fullback. He does short yardage for them. He has 3 rushing touchdowns already on plays like these, and he collects the first down in the Carabin offense beginning the march.
It's such an important drive for Montreal right now as the Huskies get this down to a 10-point game and you feel the momentum turn and we see the SMU offense, they converted one, they got one. Well, you best believe if SMU gets one more, now the Carabin are going, holy, here they come. So if they can answer this drive, as they have so far, by responding, moving down the field, and putting points on the board again, that's going to be massive, because any possession beyond this, where it stays 10, the longer it stays 10, the more we might start to see some Carabin nerves.
On the end around, here's Weddens Alexandre. He gets the first down, pops out at the 15-yard line. He collects 15. And that's what they like to do. He missed the last couple of games with a hamstring, but Alexandre is athletic, he is dynamic, and he can fly.
Well, and I think it's players like him that make this Montreal offense different. Because if it was just number 1, Leclerc out there, okay, teams could deal with that. But 16's got real speed and can make plays. And Hassan Dosso is a 2-time U Sports Second Team All-Canadian receiver, 81 on the other side. He can make plays. When you got that many different options, that becomes challenging for a defense.
Montreal continues to punish it down the middle of the St. Mary's defense. There's Melunda St. Pierre again. He'll grab 4 there. Marco Idaluca took over this program in February of 2020. The pandemic hits a month later, but ever since when football resumed in 21 and onwards, they have been in the Dunsmore Cup, which became the Jacques Dussault Cup, the RSEQ championship game, as we have a St. Mary's player on the field. Looks like it's Marcus Jean Loescher, and it may be a cramping situation here late in the third quarter. But the Carabin win a Vanier Cup in 2023. And again, if you missed it earlier, the message coming into this postseason from Idaluca and company was this is a 4-step process, and coming here to Halifax, this is step 3.
I think the favorite quote I heard from the Montreal head coach, and this was about awards and who's an all-star and who's not, was when he said, we want to go after the trophies that don't get voted on.
Right. That's a good one.
I like that one. And he's done a phenomenal job. You know, he's just over a quarter here from returning to the Vanier Cup and trying to go after his second in what would be his 5 years of on-field action. It's incredible what he's done here with the Carabins.
They went into Quebec City, knocked off Laval last week. And now in a need-to-get-it drive, they are inside the red zone. Second down and 6. Gonzalez. Touchdown, Montreal. Enrique Leclerc on the slant. And that is exactly what the Carabins needed.
No surprise to see 12 going to 1. Last week in the Quebec Championship, when they needed something, when 16,000 were on their feet in Quebec City, it was 1 stepping up. Now here in Halifax, the game gets a bit tighter. It's time to go to the most proven, most talented option you've got, and for the Montreal Carabins, there's no doubt it's that man right there. Looks like their center down there, Paul, maybe.
Yeah, Paul Nobu is down. So what a throw that was from Pepe. Finding Leclerc in space for the touchdown. You know, like you talk about a freshman season for a quarterback. 19 touchdowns to 8 picks. And there's the sombrero for the sophomore from Varennes, Quebec.
With the dance.
Now, do you learn that in Montreal? Do you learn that in Tennessee, where he played prep school? I'm not sure. But what a player. National Rookie of the Year last season. Should be an All-Canadian this year, a Conference All-Star as well.
And maybe I should not be surprised by the Carabins' ability to respond like they just did. Because here's a team, we know about the young quarterback, who, when they've faced adversity this season, they've constantly responded, like down early to Laval, come back. Laval pushing late. If you're watching that game, you're going, oh, Rouge are winning this. Here they come, here they come. But Montreal all season have made the plays and come up with the responses when they need to, and they've just done it again in the national semifinal.
It was a 9-play, 56-yard drive for the Carabins. It was methodical, and it's capped off from Gonzalez to Leclerc. Enrique Leclerc with the touchdown to put Montreal up by 17. The all-conference receiver who has become the leading receiver today for the Carabins.
And he can dance away. He's earned it. Last week in the Quebec final, he went off. 11 catches for 136 yards, as well as a rushing touchdown in that Quebec championship game. Today, we see him finding the end zone again. Just unique in his ability to make things happen after he's caught the ball. Very sure-handed target. We saw a one-handed grab from him earlier today, and that's how you're in the sombrero. They don't just give that to anybody.
6 catches today for 71 yards. And has made this a 3-score game again. St. Mary's finally got into the end zone on their previous possession, and now it's a long road back for the Huskies, trailing 29-12.
Yeah, it was the most important kind of moment of this game, is the way Montreal responded after the Huskies really shifted momentum in this thing, got it down to 10.
On the kickoff, Montreal, St. Verge, Premier St.
So an offside will move the Huskies starting field position up to the 37.
So I'll say this about the St. Mary's offense today, Rash. They've moved the ball. They've had chances. A lot of the chances have been because of the defense, have been because of the special teams. Now we need to see them, oh dear, not do that.
Picked off by Berube. Will it be returned for a touchdown? It won't. Shibley brings him down. A complete miscommunication. It looked like Shibley was trying to tell Joshua Jack pre-snap, I checked out of something, grabbing his face mask. And Jack kept going, and Berube just sat him.
Yep, you're right. A complete miscommunication. You know, this is also Justin Shibley's first year in this offense, first year with this program. There were 7 interceptions during the regular season as well from Justin Shibley. So we have seen the Huskies turn the ball over here before. What I was going to say moments before this play, Rash, was what we need to see is St. Mary's show the ability to go down the field and score. We've seen so many times today set up by their D, set up by their special teams with a short field. Now Montreal's going, don't shoot ourselves in the foot here. Make them go the length of the field and show us that they can do it. And that time just a mental mistake by Smear.
And instead it's a 30-yard return that sets up Montreal at the St. Mary's 17. That is where Remy Lambert gets the handoff. And he's met by Ryan Butler again. And Butler's laboring through something on the right side of his body. He came downhill to make the stop, but not before a pickup of 9. It'll bring up second and short, and presumably Matthew Barcelo.
Yeah, and there's the Paul Nobu, the center for the Montreal Carabins. We saw him injured on the previous possession for Montreal, back in the game. Big fellas up front are winning right now. You can see some of the vibes and the emotion from the big guys up front. They know they're winning right now, and they're helping out Remy Lambert, and they're helping out St. Pierre, and these guys pick up some chunk plays on the ground. So they're saying, leave it to us, and here comes 44.
Every short yardage play so far today has been Barcelo. And a first down for Barcelo.
Montreal, as a program, have had really good offensive linemen in the past, in the last 5, 10, 15 years, there's no doubt. But as a group up front, you talk to people around this program, and they feel this is the best offensive line group that this program has had in a long time, and we're seeing that today.
Which is amazing. You consider they have 4 new starters on their offensive line this season compared to last. First and goal, Carabin. Moulanda St. Pierre, touché, Carabin. That is probably the knockout blow. St. Mary's got it to within 10. The Carabin came down with that 9-play, 56-yard touchdown drive, and then after the pick, Montreal converts again, and just like that, a 10-point lead becomes 24, and the champions of Quebec are a quarter and change away from punching their ticket to their second Vanier Cup trip in 3 years.
Yep, and winning up front. The sombrero's back, and the Carabins are dancing again. I think this is where, as a conference, it makes such a difference. What Montreal faces in their conference to get here, what they had to do going against the Rouge et Or front, both offensive and defensive, that just gives them an edge and a toughness and a physicality that is elite at this level. And the deeper we get into this game, the more that might be apparent.
And the recruiting. You're recruiting against Laval. So that just elevates everything to bring the best of the best into your building.
Yeah, and they're doing this today without their starting running back.
Right.
Lucas Dembele Bertet, injured last week in the Quebec Championship game, not available today, not dressing today. You know,
and they're doing with a freshman quarterback who comes in to replace Jonathan Senecal, who was the class of Canadian University football.
Yeah, that's right. Just, you know, for our viewers who might not be aware, the Montreal Carabins for the previous 3 seasons had the best quarterback in the country in Jonathan Senecal. He won the Hank Crichton Trophy as the top player in the nation in 2023. Led Montreal to a Vanier Cup that season, their second Vanier Cup in program history. He graduates, and naturally you look at that and go, okay, so rebuild time. Senecal's not there anymore at Montreal, so rebuild time. And here comes Pepe Gonzalez with a sensational freshman season, surrounded, more importantly, by a very good team. And here they are, knocking on the door of a Vanier Cup appearance.
That's Chandler Zink Merrier, who gets down to the 34-yard line, collected 26 on that run back. And a little bit of a mash unit, that Montreal offensive line. You see big Adam Lachance on crutches. Paul Nobu, the center, is playing through something. That's number 71 just off your screen there. But what a pass blocking and run blocking unit this is. And they're led, and I know we've talked about it, big 76, Alassane Diouf, their left guard. And Whether or not he's headed to the next level or not, we'll see, but he is a terrific offensive lineman as Liam Legg sneaks up the middle to collect 5.
When the sideline camera is showing the offensive line huddle, it's either really good or really bad.
Yes.
And this time it's really good. I know.
By the way, they're watching film. They're not taking a selfie.
I know somewhere around right now, the offensive linemen that I played with are laughing because they're going, oh great, Becker's talking O-line, this is good. This is as close as I personally got to the offensive line meeting in my time. But the reason they earn the screen time.
Having worked with you all these years, I can see why they didn't let you into the meeting.
Hey, the push they've been getting up front, the job they've been doing, not just this game, but all season long. Big guys up front from Montreal, they definitely deserve that face time. And I also appreciate the alignment. Just do that. Okay, I'm not coming out well. Come on now.
There's big Bradley Nseka stopping Liam Legg. What a run this has been for Nseka, the 5th-year man out of La Prairie, Quebec. Injured for the last couple of years. They actually load managed him a little bit at the start of the year as he was working through some health issues. Last 5-6 games of the regular season has probably been the healthiest that he's been. Nseka is so important. 6'4", 299 at the age of 24. This means so much more to him in his last go around. And for the second time today, we mentioned Benjamin McDougall, the defensive rookie of the year in the RSEQ. He has the sack on Shipley. The Carabins are a quarter away from the Vanier Cup, dominating the Uteck Bowl in Halifax. And that is how the third quarter ended. Benjamin McDougall, the freshman from Montreal, with the sack. And what a year it has been for this freshman. Stepping into the program, 6'4", 243, only 20 years of age.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned recruiting in our right before break there, Rash, because, you know, a season ago, the Montreal Carabins had one of the top defensive ends in football, and Jeremiah Ojo, he's gone. How do you replace him? Well, how about with the conference's Rookie of the Year?
Right.
Ben McDougall been
not a bad way to do it.
Not a bad way to do it. Been doing a great job all season, and that time gets to Shibley as well.
Fourth quarter underway in Halifax. Montreal 36, St. Mary's 12. Pepe Gonzalez in the Carabin offense. Find Wedens Alexandre again. Little move on Kalon Edwards, and Edwards able to clean that up. First down for the Carabin after the all-conference halfback made the stop.
Yeah, it's the second time today we've seen Alexandre used in that kind of motion. A little shovel pass, a little jet sweep action. He's got that speed to get around the edge, make a difference.
Yes, unnecessary roughness, piling on, dead ball foul, back 15 yards from where the first down occurred. Hands there, premier essay, Montreal.
Look at Denis Touchette, the defensive coordinator for the Montreal Carabins in 1987.
Yes, give him.
Touchette, a member of the McGill football team that came into Huskies Stadium. Touchette was a player on that team. He picked off Chris Flynn to secure the bowl game win for McGill. They went on to win the Vanier Cup the last time McGill were national champions. Touchette made the play. Now he is the defensive coordinator here for the Carabins.
Pick off Chris Flynn.
When you do these bowl games, you better go deep in the pocket for your preparation and your stories.
Three-time heck Creighton winner.
Flip this side to Simon Riopel, who dodges and dances and gets to the outside. We have a flag on the play. Okay, I have to tell you this about Chris Flynn. So I grew up in Nova Scotia, and when Chris Flynn was balling for the Huskies, he was larger than life in that province. For a place in the country that doesn't have a pro sports franchise, Flynn was on national TV all the time. He was Michael Vick before Michael Vick, a running, throwing quarterback.
Illegal block, 73, Montreal. 10-yard penalty, 10 Premier.
He is a legend in Halifax, a legend in St. Mary's. They have a #1 in the end zone still at Huskies Stadium in honor of Chris Flynn. That stays there.
That's outstanding.
Best player to come through that program. Best athlete through the university. That time Wesley Johnson McDuff came swimming through the line way too early.
I'll share with you old school SMU memory.
Yes.
Me, okay. So I've got 3 older brothers, right? A couple of them played some ball, Waterloo Warriors, and my brother Grant, 99 makes the national semi, right? They win the 8s, they got to head east. They got to face SMU.
Ooh.
Okay, good ball game, 21-14, something like that. SMU won that game. Blake Nill, head coach, right? Steve Samara, offensive coordinator. When I met Blake Nill for the first time, right, I say to him, hey, my brother played against you in 99. And before I can finish the sentence, he goes, triple option attack, Waterloo Warriors. Oh, we didn't know what to do. We only had a week. So these guys, these coaches, Steve Samara, these guys.
They remember.
They remember.
They'll remember Hassan Dussault, the 26-year-old who flexes his way for a first down. Good. Amazing thing, football coaches, their attention to detail in their preparation, and 30 years later, how they can remember specific plays.
we all have a bit of that complex, Arash. We remember plays, we remember moments, we remember teams. So it's part of the game. We always do so. Nice fight for yardage afterwards. Good to see number 5. Ryan Butler back on the field for SMU after he was down early in the game, favoring that wrist.
Yeah, respect to Ryan Butler and Isaiah Okoli, who are playing through it today. As Gregory Malunda St. Pierre rumbles forward, enough for another first down for the Carabins.
Yeah, I think, Arash, when we look at these interconference games at the national semifinal level, we kind of mentioned this earlier in the broadcast about how it's tough to know what you're facing until you play the game. It's tough to gauge this until you play the game and actually line up. For me, it's about these guys in the interior. I have a lot of respect for the St. Mary's defense and what they've done all season. But to see,
and especially today.
And today, yeah, absolutely. Proven they belong and just a performance they can be proud of. But to watch this Montreal O-line work, look at this room. Look at this room he has. I mean, he's not getting touched till 4 or 5 yards down the field. And at that point...
Is he in the end zone or down at the 1? Yeah. That's Gregory Malunda St. Pierre. I thought his knee came down at the 1-yard line. And I believe it did. And yet again, where are they going?
Look at this cutback. Look at the left side of this offensive line. It's a wash. It's a wash. And as a running back, that's a dream. To have that kind of push, that kind of movement up front, let you do your thing. We've talked a lot about Alassane Diouf, the guy right beside him, Jean-Darius Ndu, just incredible push.
He just removed Romario Reed from the conversation to set up the running lane.
Yeah. And guess what time it is?
Is it Barcelou time? It's Barcelou time.
4 for his number.
4 touchdown today for Mathieu Barcelou. Is he going to count them? Let's take a look. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, indeed. And Girard is there to help him. And the counting and the celebration is on. The route is on in Halifax. This was a 22-12 game. We blink and suddenly Montreal scored 3 straight touchdowns.
Yeah, as soon as SMU got it down to 10, I think that long touchdown drive by Montreal.
9 plays, 56 yards.
Yeah, that was so important just to extend it again. Of course, after that, we had the complete miscommunication between Shibley and Jack that led to that easy pick, and it was kind of downhill from there.
They were national champions in 2023. They will be returning to the Vanier Cup in 2025. Montreal Carabins are rolling. St. Mary's University in Halifax, the site of the Uteck Bowl. Coming up next, the Mitchell Bowl in Saskatoon. The Queens Gales taking on the Saskatchewan Huskies. Queens with the stunner last week, upsetting the nation's #1 ranked Wilfrid Laurier Golden Hawks. They're getting loose out there at Griffith Stadium in Saskatoon. We will have that. Mark Lee, Deshaun Stevens are standing by. They'll have the call here on CBC Gem and CBCSports.ca. In Halifax, the Carabins leading St. Mary's 43-12. You know, you talk to Steve Samara and the Huskies, they would have told you a few weeks back, this is still early in the evolution of our program. Samara returned to Halifax 4 years ago after spending a decade at Carleton, the head coach of the Ravens there. And Steve said, you know, we're about a year away from really kind of showing ourselves. But they win their first Loney Bowl conference title in 15 years this season. And now they get this experience that'll help them as we get a look at Alan Young, the backup quarterback, coming into the game. The Huskies know there's a lot more work to do. Now it's a matter about going out to do it this offseason.
Yeah, and Steve Samara, you can't say enough about the job he's done since returning to his alma mater and leading this SMU program. 3 recruiting classes now under his belt. Will be really interesting to see over these next 2-3 years where this program can go. Alan Young getting into it right away.
Going deep, trying to find Cherokee Robinson. Incomplete, swatted away by Samuel Lapierre, who had the interception right before the half.
Yeah, incredible job all season by this Montreal defense. Lapierre, great coverage down the field, stride for stride. Young letting it fly on his first go, no luck. Now got a 2nd and 10. Will be an uphill battle from here.
So, while Justin Shibley was at Carleton, waiting in the wings for an opportunity, Alan Young was at the University of Ottawa. The lefty over the middle, misfires, trying to find Chandler Zink Merrier. So 2 and out for Alan Young. He is a gunslinger. He likes that fastball. But Young didn't really get a chance with the GGs. He came over to St. Mary's, took over as the starter midway through last year. Did a decent job for them. Had a playoff win over St. X, but then Shibley arrives on campus, gets the starting job, and Young actually comes on for certain possessions here and there in that Huskies offense. Kind of a 1-in-1A situation in that St. Mary's offense. Cameron Brown kicks it away. And it's been an adventure for Louis Drolet all day today on these returns. He avoids a turnover there.
He's not having a lot of fun back there today,
No.
but he is a good sure-handed returner. He had a really good game against Laval, and it's just I don't know if the wind's messing with him a little bit or he doesn't like the way the ball's coming off the foot here, but we've seen the backup quarterback for SMU, and now we see the backup quarterback for the Carabins.
So we talked about him earlier. Here's Rakeem Canal-Charles, the senior from Montreal, who spent the last 3 years as the backup to Jonathan Senecal, the country's best quarterback. And now this year was fighting tooth and nail with Pepe Gonzalez through training camp and the first regular season game against Concordia for the starting job. Pepe won it. Canal-Charles, being a good soldier, remained a good teammate. As the backup, here he hands it off to Jamal Louis. He rumbles for 17 yards and a first down. How tough that must be for Rakeem Canal-Charles to be such a good teammate as a senior when you're waiting for your chance and it never seems to come. Although he's headed to a second Vanier in 3 years. That might soften the blow a little.
Yeah, I'm sure it will. A little stretch here to the outside. Again, up front, body on a body. White jerseys accounting for everyone in front of him, and first contact's coming 13 yards down the field. We're now on to about, if you count the starting running back for the Carabins being out, now we're on to about running back number 4 with Louis, because everyone's getting the touches, and this guy, if he has a bit of space, that's all he needs.
Yeah, we asked Marco Idaluca about him, and his answer was blazing speed.
Yeah, and now we're also looking at a Huskies defensive unit that's getting a little bit tired, because they've been doing so much today, made so many big plays. But again, same play, stretch to the left, just outside the reach of Zach Shirato, and eventually Edwards down the field, able to get a hand on him. But yeah, we've seen that speed from Louis on the kickoff return. Now we're seeing it as running back.
First carry for 17, the next one for 32 yards. 5 minutes gone by in the fourth quarter. Montreal on its way to the Vanier Cup. Louis stopped behind the line this time. And Romario Reed met him there 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage. Of course, this national semifinal in memory of Larry Uteck, the longtime head coach at St. Mary's University. He's the one who really put this program on the map, on the national stage. We talked about Chris Flynn and the glory years there. Uteck inducted into the Canadian Football Hall of Fame 5 years ago. 2nd and 13. Canal Charles to the end zone. And Simon LaRose was turned around.
And it was a good ball. He had him too. LaRose get behind his man there, but would have been a nice moment for Canal Charles. Instead, it'll be another field goal attempt here for the Carabins.
Philippe Boyer has missed and has been blocked. And Canal Charles got a...
He wanted it.
He wanted it.
I had him. He did.
I had him.
He did.
Can Philippe Boyer put one through? From 24 yards out this time. Good. We'll return to Halifax after this.
The two top teams in Canadian football descend on Mosaic Stadium in Regina for the 60th Vanier Cup next Saturday, 2 p.m. Eastern. Get your tickets for the party on the prairies by visiting usportstickets.ca. The 2025 Vanier Cup on November 22nd in Regina. Chase the glory.
That was the voice of Vanier Cup champion Andy Beckley on the Rash Medani.
It's late fourth quarter, Rash. You're starting to get tired. I got to hop in.
Oh, that's right. Next man up.
Next man up.
Next one up.
Even if it's not a good up.
What a career it's been for Malik Williams, the fifth-year man out of Ajax, Ontario. In Halifax, twice an All-Canadian, led the AUS in touchdowns this season. Has really emerged as the star of a run-first program there at St. Mary's. Early on in his career there in Halifax, it was a struggle. The team wasn't winning games. There was turmoil at the end of the previous coaching staff. Steve Sumara and company come in, changing things around. Williams a big part of that in that entire offense. And what a career he has had as that pass was broken up by Charles Elliott Boulien, the all-star middle linebacker at a Cégep André Grasset.
Yeah, I mean, we're here to cover, promote, shine the spotlight on all of these student athletes at Rash, but every once in a while, if we're dead honest, there's a couple that catch the eye that are easy to root for and easy to get behind, and Malik Williams is certainly in that category. Congratulations to him on a fantastic career, fantastic senior season here. Was that his touchdown run earlier this game, Rash? Was that number 16 or 17 on the season? 17 regular season and playoffs combined. Unbelievable.
He has been the Russ Jackson nominee.
And he's out there on special teams too.
Doing it all. The nominee for athletic ability, academic achievement, and citizenship. Williams gives his time to different food banks and shelters, helping provide food for those in need. He's also gone to some different thrift areas on the clothing side, helping out where he can for those who are a little less fortunate. One other thing that really stood out to me is that he's embraced Halifax. He was among the volunteers at the Progress Pride flag raising at Province House in Halifax. Made a big impact over there in Nova Scotia since coming from the GTA. By the way, Malik Williams' GPA, 391.
Rudess, unnecessary roughness. St. Mary's, 15-yard penalty, first down.
Unnecessary roughness there on St. Mary's. I didn't catch who it was. We saw at the very end of the play, it was Smooth's punter there, Cameron Brown, trying to calm things down, get everyone on the same page, which is Steve Samaro's job right now, telling the guys to hang in there. But
It's what you don't want to see. National Bowl game midway through the fourth quarter. It's a runaway, right?
Right. But the unnecessary roughness, talk about stuff after the whistle. Now I'm just having flashbacks to the Quebec final a week ago, which was at times closer to a UFC event than a football game. Just so much animosity between those two great rivals in Montreal and Laval. And a fantastic football game as well a week ago. 31-29, Carabins came out on top. I gotta say, Arash, one of my fondest Vanier Cup memories covering the sport was in Montreal in 2014 for their first Vanier Cup title in program history. 22,000 people in attendance at McGill Stadium, Percival Molson Stadium, and just to be there, the energy was amazing. You and I called the national semifinal that year between Manitoba and Montreal, which was also a fantastic game. But yeah, for the Carabins to win their first Vanier in front of their home crowd in their city, in dramatic fashion, might I add, McMaster Marauders in game-winning field goal range, under a minute to go, blocked field goal, sealed that thing for the Carabins. So to get your first national title, and like that was special.
Gabriel Cousineau is the quarterback of those Carabins. He's now the offensive coordinator here at the University of Montreal. Byron Archambault, remember that big middle linebacker?
Of course.
Now the special teams coach of the Alouettes will be playing in the Grey Cup tomorrow in Winnipeg. Pass far side of the field out to Drolet. He'll hop out of bounds after collecting 6.
If you're Steve Samara and you're in year 4 back at the program, you got some recruiting classes under your belt now, this final score is not really going to be indicative of how much St. Mary's was there. How much St. Mary's had their opportunities to make this a real game. And you gotta be I know no one's gonna be happy leaving with this score, but when you talk about the bigger picture projection of this program, where it's going, you're gonna look back on this and say, here's what we need, here's where we need to get better, but we're not as far away as some people think.
I mean, here we are midway through the fourth quarter. It's 46-12. What if I told you midway through the third quarter, it was a 10-point game? And that's what it was before Montreal just kind of turned up the Jets. And prior to that, you have 3 trips inside the 10-yard line that end with interception, turnover on downs, interception in the end zone. That's what you go back to and you wonder what could have been.
And having a chance to go head-to-head against this competition, that's gonna help the St. Mary's Huskies, who we mentioned earlier. Maybe they're even a little ahead of schedule. They took down a really talented senior Leyden St. FX team to get here, and now here they are, gaining this experience, seeing what it takes. Now it's time to head into the offseason, head into recruiting, make those improvements where you are, and see where you are again. Get back to the stage a year from now and make it happen.
Philippe Boyer sneaks one through from 38 yards. He's feeling it. He's knocked through the last 2 field goals after missing one and having another block. 6 minutes to go in Halifax. We'll have it for you when we return. Well, no real surprise who our Nike player of the game is when you get into the end zone 4 times on the afternoon. You get the nod. Matthew Barcelo, the sophomore short yardage specialist. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Congrats to Mathieu. He'll be right there in the teeth of it all next week in Regina at the Vanier Cup. 6 minutes remaining in this national semifinal. St. Mary's home to the University of Montreal. And we're going deep into the depth chart. Our first look at Reese White, the 4th-year running back out of Winnipeg.
A short yardage fullback who lines up under center, player of the game, 4 touchdowns. Didn't have that one coming in, did you? Actually, you kind of liked it. You mentioned to me a couple days ago.
Yeah,
hey, 44.
I like this. You don't see this much in football anymore.
I think it might have been Wednesday or Thursday. You texted me and gave that shot. I'm going to give you that. I'm gonna give you that
watching
prop.
44?
Oh, sure, I saw it. I just didn't say player of the game.
Oh, man. They go back to Wyke. crosses the 45 to about the 46. So Montreal will face the winner of Queens and Saskatchewan. And the more I watch this game, I have Scott Fleury's voice in the back of my head. Fleury, the head coach at the University of Saskatchewan. We were talking about the Hardy Cup. And he said, Arash, we have spent the last 3 years recruiting the defensive line. And they will have 7, if not 8, defensive linemen active today and next week if they get to the national championship game. It's amazing, you know, football's become shotgun and throwing the football like Alan Young has done here and nearly intercepted. It was dropped by Matisse Leboeuf. But it's still about winning at the point of attack. And when you think about Montreal's offensive line and what they'll be going up against, either the Queens front or the Saskatchewan front, I think this national championship game is going to be one at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, and how about throw into that, Arash, how about mid to late November in Regina?
Sure. It will not be an all-inclusive vacation.
Yeah, Queens is such a balanced team. I really like them in every aspect. Saskatchewan, that defense, right? One of the best players in the country, in Seth Hunneby, and Huskies defense in Saskatchewan in late November. That's going to be a challenge for anybody, including this Montreal offensive unit, should the Huskies make it that far. Also, Rash will take this opportunity just to pass along our well wishes as well to the Saskatchewan Huskies quarterback.
Yes.
For any of our viewers who may not be aware, Anton Amendrund, great quarterback for the Saskatchewan Huskies this season, was having a great year, you know, 14 touchdowns, no interceptions, Huskies are rolling. He leaves the team, and then a couple weeks after we find out that it's a cancer diagnosis with lymphoma, and there's been an incredible amount of support, both within Saskatoon and beyond, for Anton. So just wanted to echo that as well and wish him all the best.
Yeah, it was a little murky for a little while because Amendrund was balling. He was the leading passer in Canada West in the country for a little while. And then he missed a game, and Scott Fleury's kind of comment was, oh, it's a personal issue. And then the Huskies were just had a kind of line. They said, Anton is our starting quarterback, and when he's cleared, he will return to be our starting quarterback. And all the way, Jake Farrell's, you know, holding the fort and doing a really nice job. And Amendrund had been in the hospital for the last 3 weeks, and only on Monday night of this week did the diagnosis actually become official, and was told that it is lymphoma. So you just wish the best for the kid, only 23 years old, has the rest of his life ahead of him. And again, you mentioned all the support that he has. We send our best to Anton Amendrund. Under 3 minutes to go here in Halifax. Nice tackle downhill coming from Jazante Smith. He's been a little of everywhere today, the sophomore from Oshawa, Ontario.
Yeah, he's made some plays, no doubt about it. Again, for SMU, it hasn't just been one guy today on the defensive side of the ball. There's been so many at every level.
3-minute warning in Halifax. You are looking live, Griffith Stadium, Saskatoon. Coming up next, it's Queens and Saskatchewan. The winner of that one will face Montreal in the 60th Vanier Cup next Saturday. We will be in Regina, and CBC is your home for exclusive coverage. We'll have it on CBC TV, CBC Gem, and CBCSports.ca.
I just got to say, looking at that shot of Saskatoon, I was in Saskatoon when they hosted a Vanier Cup in 2006. Huskies played at home that day against Laval. I was still a student athlete back in those days. And it was minus 35 with everything. I remember I got in a cab, okay? And the cab driver said to me, it's not that bad, it's a dry cold.
Oh, it's a dry cold. Okay, wow.
And I thought...
It's not the heat, it's the humidity.
And I thought it's not that bad.
Actually, it is.
I believe that might have been an 8-7 ball game or something like that.
They travel well from Montreal, don't they?
They sure do.
Oh, man. The Carabins faithful have made the trip to Halifax. They are loving this. A game that was a 10-point Montreal advantage midway through the third quarter has become a runaway. Carabins could win their second Vanier Cup in 3 years if they're able to win next Saturday. Here's Chandler Zink. Maria, who gets out to the 40-yard line. Stop on the play. Made out there by Felix Delaurier, the first-year man at a Blainville, Quebec.
I think the University of Montreal, I haven't been to every single stadium in U Sports football, okay? 27 programs across the country that have football. But that stadium, Sepsum, at the University of Montreal, that's my favorite stadium I've ever been to. No track around it, crowd right on top, mountain range
and
on the other side.
Rocking in there.
That is one of the coolest venues for a U Sports football game I've ever been to.
Joshua Jack gets to the 53-yard line.
When you're up in the press box rush, you can see the big O out in the distance on a clear day.
Yeah, you're up there on the mountain at the plateau.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
If you've never been to a game at Pep Stadium
sure.
in Quebec City.
Been there many a time too.
21,000 they put there for the Carabins Rouge regular season game this year, and it is a scene.
Well, how about that? How about that number you texted me the other day about how many fans have made their way out to Quebec City this year?
So 6 home games at Laval this year. They put more than 105,000 spectators into that stadium for 6. Call them 6 football games.
Yep, pretty unbelievable.
Final 90 seconds in Halifax. The question now becomes, who will Montreal play? Is it Saskatchewan? Is it Queens? Mark Lee, Deshaun Stevens are standing by. We will have the nightcap of our double dip, the Mitchell Bowl from Saskatoon, coming up next. Here at St. Mary's, there's Malik Williams again. And look at Beef go. Longest run of the day. And he gets the prop for the over in the Medani Beckler conversation at 27.5 rushing yards. Thank you, number 4.
Stop it.
That'll earn me a hot chocolate after the game. What a career for Malik Williams there in Halifax. There are 4 coaches in the Atlantic Conference who will be happy to see him go.
Mm-hmm.
Alan Young off the play fake. Good to Tridell Mintis. He's going to be close to a first down. Final minute of play. Quick shout out to Isaiah Coley and Ryan Butler especially, 2 graduating seniors. A couple of captains on that St. Mary's defense. Both of them were playing through it. And Marco Idaluca with a hug for the staff. They will celebrate becoming Uteck Bowl champions. They said it is a 4-step process at the start of the playoffs, and step 3, check mark today. Alan Young has himself a touchdown pass in this National Bowl game. He finds Cherokee Robinson for the touchdown. Robinson a little slow to get up after collecting his 5th touchdown of 2025.
Kind of feels like a late score like this, and you deserve that a little bit, doesn't it? Because there was some serious moments of this game, sections of this game, where this team showed they could go toe-to-toe with Montreal. And I think a late score, I think they had that one coming a little bit. Cherokee, nice job going up, getting that, coming down with it. Good size, good athleticism as a receiver.
Yeah, 6 foot, 205. He's a big body.
Yeah, big body, good athlete. And a good ball there too by Alan Young.
Adam Johnson puts it through. And we have a kickoff and knees that await us here in downtown Halifax.
Gotta say it, Rash, I've been part of a team that's gone and lost to a Quebec Power in a Uteck Bowl. 04 Uteck at Laval. And that, I can't tell you how much that helped us in terms of what we needed to do and where we needed to go as players, as a program, to take that next step, which we were able to do the season afterwards. But my point of all of that is saying this is going to help St. Mary's.
In what ways?
You don't, until you've played this competition out of your own conference, you have no way of knowing, well, where are we trying to get to? Because it's one thing to go after the Loney Bowl, try to get that AUS title, but beyond that, if we're talking Vanier Cup, we're talking big picture, what do we need to do? We know where we need to win. We know where we need to get better, and those are all things that SMU is going to know coming out of this. And like I said, with another recruiting cycle under Samara's belt as they continue to build, we all know about the AUS drought. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about this team. I'm talking about this program and how much they can benefit from some of the really positive things we've seen today.
Onside kick goes out of bounds. Montreal will take it. And that should do it. Out of the corner of my eye, I see Steve Snyder as they're getting ready over there in Saskatoon for Queens taking on the University of Saskatchewan. Snyder, the head coach, year 6 at the helm of the Gales. They've been to 3 Yates Cup games in 5 years. They finally get over the hump as Ontario champs. They'll be in their gold uniforms today.
From USA, Montreal.
That is coming up next. Queens will take on the Saskatchewan Huskies. Huskies quarterback Jake Farrell had to take over for Anton Ammonrood, and the message to him was just stay within the offense. Don't try and do too much. Just execute what's in front of you, and Farrell hasn't looked back. The Huskies have been undefeated with him under center. And that will do it in Halifax. The Carabins are returning to the Vanier Cup. Montreal will play for a second national title in 3 years on Saturday. Congratulations to Marco Idaluca and his staff. You think back to the decision they made week 2 of this season. Rakeem Canal-Charles was the senior. He was the quarterback who learned under Jonathan Senecal, and the Carabins made the move to go with Pepe Gonzalez as their starting quarterback. And from there, the rookie of the year in the conference hasn't looked back. And the Carabins have found a way. A 6-2 regular season. They upset Laval in Quebec City last Saturday, and now they will play for a Vanier Cup next week in Regina.
For me, it's not even the week 2 decision to go with Pepe. It's like the week 4 or 5 decision to stick with Pepe.
Sure.
After he throws 4 picks in a loss, 16-6 loss at Laval. The way he rebounded from that, and you look at his next game against Laval, 280 plus yards, couple touchdowns, no picks. That's what jumps out to me, is this staff and this team sticking together, helping him, watching him grow. And yeah, just can't say enough about how much of a complete team this Carabins squad is. Great offensive line, playmakers at receiver, and strong physical presence on defense.
The Carabins are about to be crowned Uteck Bowl champions. We'll have the trophy ceremony when we return. Husky Stadium in Halifax, the Montreal Carabins knock off St. Mary's. They are on their way to the Vanier Cup next Saturday in Regina. We're about to hand out the hardware. And watch the Carabins celebrate before we send you to Griffith Stadium in Saskatoon for the Mitchell Bowl. They are moments away from getting going there for Queens and Saskatchewan. On the campus of St. Mary's University in downtown Halifax is where you will find Husky Stadium. And the Carabins said this has to be a business trip for us. They wanted to keep it as relatively the same, not get caught up in all the hoopla of it all. And they lived up to it. Justin Shibley threw that interception right before the half. And that was a dagger. That could have really put St. Mary's back in the football game. By the time in the third quarter they got to within 10, Montreal was able to take it up another gear. Samuel Lapierre with the takeaway just before the break. 49-19 the final score, as we get set for the pomp and circumstance in Halifax.
Bon après-midi, tout le monde. Je m'appelle Chris Lydon, votre animateur pour la cérémonie de l'après-match de cette Coupe Uteck 2025. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Chris Lydon, and it's my sincere pleasure to be your host for the 2025 Uteck Bowl post-game ceremonies. Veuillez accueillir Jennifer Smart, directrice du sport de U-Sport, pour présenter le prix de jouer par excellence défensif du match Nike. Please welcome Jennifer Smart, U-Sport's Director of Sport, to present the Nike Defensive Player of the Game Award. From Les Carabins de Montreal, number 25, Mathis Bérubé. Des Carabins du Montréal, le numéro 25, Mathis Bérubé. Pour une autre fois, Jennifer Smart, directrice du sport U-Sports. Again, Jennifer Smart, U-Sports Director of Sport, is presenting the Nike Offensive Player of the Game Award. Le joué par excellence à l'attaque du match Nike. From Montreal, number 44, Mathieu Barsalu. De l'équipe Carabins du Montréal, le numéro 44. Mathieu Barsalu.
Let's go! Vanya, baby!
Aussi avec Sue Uteck, veuillez accueillir Luke Uteck pour la remise de la Coupe Uteck 2025. Au Carabins de Montreal, please welcome to the field Sue and Luke Uteck, wife and son of the late Larry Uteck, to present the 2025 Uteck Bowl to les Carabins du Montréal. We would now like the Montreal captains to come to the field to receive the trophy and banner. Nous invitons les capitaines de la Carabine de Montréal à monter sur le podium pour recevoir la Coupe Uteck et la bannière du championnat.
Everybody there? Are you guys ready? Yeah. That's a bummer that you said that.
All right, now can you pull that out?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, can I get you guys? Wait a second. Can I get a picture of you guys?
Quick photo first. We are on broadcast photo. We gotta go. We gotta go. Push back, move.
And so the Montreal Carabins will head to Regina next Saturday to play in the Vanier Cup, winners of the Uteck Bowl in 2025.
Well, the Carabins came into Halifax, Arash, and they did what they had to do, win on all three phases of the game. Closer than the final score indicated, maybe, but St. Mary's left too many out there, and they'll be blue in the prairies on November 22nd.
The Carabins will play for a national championship again. For Sarah Said, Andy Beckler, Arash Madani saying so long. Thanks for watching the 2025 Uteck on CBC.
It's that moment again, the one you dream of every night. La seule chose qui te préoccupe, c'est la gloire. Le cheminement de la réussite, of pushing yourself further than ever before. But the true glory is in the shadows. Les sacrifices que tu fais, quand toutes les chances sont contre toi. When you can't push one more second, chase the glory. Visez haut.